Feels like to be free.
The knowledge of the truth will make us free. That's how Africans ought to be. Walking every day with the right knowledge in our minds. Knowledge of the truth will make us free. That's how Africans ought to be. Living every day in the power of our mind.
The knowledge of the truth
will make us free.
That's how
Africans ought to be. Walking every day with the right knowledge in our mind.
Wow, Motto Tep family. You guys may be seated. It's so good to see your beautiful, wonderful faces today. Look at the person next to you and say, it's really good to see you. Now, y'all didn't lie, right? No. Yeah. It's really an honor to be here today. As long as I've been at this, I never take any particular moment for granted. And whenever people leave the comfort of where they are to come hear what I have to say, or whenever we gather for fellowship, I consider it an honor to have your presence here with us today. We're trying to do a work, and I think that in the last couple of weeks, I think I've had more of a witness and affirmation that our work is not in vain. From the communications, we've been getting, and just, sometimes you're wondering if you're really reaching people. You put your energy in and your time in to try to get the truth out to people, and you're wondering if folk are listening, But I'm starting to realize that people are listening, and nothing has been more encouraging in my life, and recently, than to hear the testimony of the brother I'm about to present to you. How many of y'all been seeing the brother on Facebook? Look at the hands, man. Look at the hands. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. I love it. I just love it. I'm not good for just talking if I'm not actually bringing the message. I don't believe in spending a lot of time talking before the messenger. So let me get right to presenting the speaker for today to you. Of course, I met this brother in person for the first time last night when he got in town. But when we embraced, now I don't know if y'all can relate to what I'm saying, but when you meet someone, you can talk to somebody over the phone. You can see them electronically. But when you meet them face to face and you embrace and your heart is next to their heart, y'all following me? Yes. That's when I really understood that this is truly a good brother and a messenger that God has raised up for this time. I'm so honored to have this young brother here. As you have heard on the internet, his videos have gone viral, worldwide. And you can imagine the support that he's gotten from the brothers and sisters like you and myself, who understands where he is and where he's going. But unfortunately, there are still thousands who are still in their circumference of awareness. You follow me? And we understand that. We were talking about that on the way here today. We understand that they're in their circumference of awareness. They don't understand where we are because we've learned something that they don't know. You follow what I'm saying? Can anybody relate to what I'm saying? Great. Well, brothers and sisters, this brother is, I remember when I saw his video, I put on Facebook, I want to get in touch with this brother. Somebody help me find where he is, because his message is so on time. It's so righteous. It's so valid. It's so empowered. It's so spiritual that I just want to get in touch with him. And evidently he must have saw that and responded and gave me his name and his number, and we called and it seems like we've been talking for months, but it's only been a little over a week or two, and here he is with us today. And I want to thank you, those of you who made your donations to help our brother during his time, because you probably heard he lost his job. Okay, he went to work and got fired simply for taking a stand for the truth. And so that's why his message today is I had to take a stand. And one of the things that I am committed to is not letting this brother go through what I went through when my eyes was open. When my eyes came open, y'all, I had nobody to turn to because everybody I knew was in the Church of God in Christ. Okay, and when you step away from that program, man, they act like you're selling drugs or something. So let me not belabor the point anymore. I want you to hear this brother's testimony. I'm going to ask brothers and sisters if you will stand, receive our brother, our speaker, our teacher for today, young warrior. I'm going to call him a militant divine. Okay, that's the best thing I can think of right now to label this brother, okay? Brothers and sisters, please put your black hands together like you're about to bust a vessel in it, okay? And receive our brother minister, ex-pastor, minister Kevin Wesley. Come on, put your hands together. Yeah, brother. Love you, man. Love you, brother. It's your house, man. Amen.
Thank y'all. Y'all don't know what this means to me, okay? To stand in front of people who say, man, you know what, I'm with this guy. I haven't seen this for a while. So I'll say that, growing up in church for me, it was all I had. Okay, so I grew up with literally no parents. Okay, mother died when I was 3 years old. Father wasn't there. Okay, absolutely. Okay. Okay. Can y'all hear me now? Yes. Okay, so my mother died when I was 3 years old, cancer. Okay. So I don't even obviously remember her. No pictures. One picture, I believe. I didn't see that until I was about 25. I saw a picture of my mother for the first time. And so I didn't know my father like that. So the church was really all I had. All I had. So going to church and being raised up in the church, becoming a minister, teaching people, teaching kids, all these things, it became my world. Being able to touch people's lives who have been through similar things that I had been through, telling them that obviously Jesus was the way. This is what I was taught. And discovering that these things were not true literally broke my heart. And I mean, it's like I say that, but words really can't express. Okay. I was trying to find out who God was. Okay. So growing up in Christianity, and I had heard that there were 4,200 religions. And I said, wow, because I always thought about it like this. If I live my life, as a saved man and I die and he's not real, at least I'm okay. Right. But if I live my life like hell and I die and he is real, wow, I'm going to be in hell for eternity. So I said, you know what, I better, follow this thing. I don't want to go to hell, But then when I saw that there were 4,200 religions, all of them or most of them which have a hell for you, I said, so wait a second, time out. If I believe this one thing and accept it to be true because it's the first thing I heard, what if one of these other 4,199 religions are true? It's a chance I couldn't afford to take. You see, I'm not going to spend my entire life getting on my knees, worshiping, and then end up not being correct. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I want to know. So I began to say, God, it's all these religions out here. Frankly, I don't have the time. We know how long it takes to learn one. All right, we spend our whole lives in it. How can I have time to learn them all and say, you know what? I'm going to try Islam. I'm going to try all these different ones and try to find God through all of those. It's impossible. So I really just said, God, whoever you are, speak to me, please. Please just reveal yourself to me, whoever you are. I don't even care as long as I get to know you, because my heart was truly for God. It is truly for God. And that's when I began to see the truth. trying to research and find these things and trying to find things to solidify my own beliefs. And it's just not possible. If you ever done this type of research and tried to solidify your beliefs, you'll find yourself right where I was and not finding any evidence to be able to say, you know what, I'm gonna put my whole life on this thing, teach this thing to my kids, let them teach it to their grandkids, and let the cycle continue. And it's not, and it's not fact. So what do? When you have this in front of you, sure, you can continue to go to church. You can continue to go and do the same things you were doing, because in reality, you're looked at like a good person, right? Nobody really gives you any problems, you see, and you become a staple in the community, forgiving and helping kids and all this stuff. So I thought about that. Maybe I'll just continue to do these things because if you read it, and it can make you a better person. If you apply the principles. And that's any religion will teach you discipline. Okay. But that doesn't make it true. You see what I'm saying in terms of getting you to heaven. So I thought about it and I said, you know what? There's no way I can continue doing this. Period. I can't. There's no way. And I don't care what it takes. I'm willing to stand up for it. Anybody in here got kids? Boys, girls, all this, right? We got kids. And we look around in this world and we see how it has become, or not has become, how it is. When you wake up, you see it for what it truly is. You see what I'm saying? And there's literally no way any person with children, I believe, can find the truth and sit on it when we're dying out here every day. So for me, it was like, people say you're brave. It takes courage to stand up. Nah, I'm scared to see my kids shot down on the streets. You see what I'm saying? I'm afraid to see my kids live this life and then realize later that there's no power in it and say, Daddy, why didn't you tell me? Why would you allow me to get on my knees and continue this, to continue to support it? Why would you allow me to subscribe myself to this belief? And it's not true. I can't do that to them. And if you love someone, why would you do that to them? Why would you teach them a lie? When you know that the things that we see out here in the open are predating this Bible by thousands of years, how can you then still teach that it's true? It's funny, though, how when you grow up in church, you believe that you'll be ridiculed for your beliefs, right? The trials will be many. Our trials as Christians, for me, was just everyday life. Nobody was hunting for me, trying to attack me, telling me I was wrong. I mean, pretty much everybody respected me for my beliefs. So I didn't have a problem in that area. It was mainly just, everyday life, This one, though, this is no joke here. This is no joke at all. From a standpoint of understanding what you've been believing is not true. We understand what they go through. Okay, so we understand that it's mental, that they've been misinformed. But they get to say, you're the devil. You're the Antichrist. And even though these things are not true, it still hurts because they mean it. In their mind, you're going to hell. If I die today, they'll say I'm in hell. And it's sad because we know that this is just not true. But we've been conditioned to believe this. So if we've been conditioned to believe this, how do we step outside of that? Because for me, that was like the main fear. If I come out and start saying this and he's real, then now I'm going to burn. But how fair is that? I'm trying. You see and I always felt that way. I am trying. So God, you mean to tell me that I can try to find you? And if something happens to me and I didn't find the right religion, now I must burn. All right, brother. That even if a slave does not know what his master wants from him, he'll still be punished. Wow. What type of conditioning is that? I don't know what you expect, and yet you'll still beat me. I didn't even know what you wanted from me. So it's not fair. So it's like when you read this word and you hear all these things that they're saying that God said to you, God is saying to us, when you think about this with your heart, there's just no way that God said this. And to me, that right there was the boldest thing that I can come out and say is that this is not the word of God. Wow. There's no way you can convince me that God said a fair, righteous God, okay, can say, I'll send you to hell, not even understanding what it's like to lust, to have a problem. We need to make that circle. Okay. All right, so I'm going to attempt this circle. I've been watching him, so everybody hold up your circles. All right. Inside of this circle represents everything that I think I know.
Represents everything that I think I know.
Everything that I think I know.
Everything that I think I know
is inside this circumference of awareness.
Is inside this circumference of awareness.
I must understand.
I must understand
that there's more to know.
That there is more to know
than what is inside my circumference of awareness.
Than what is inside my circumference of awareness.
That's it. Well, and I tell you, when the first time I saw you say that, man, it was needed because it's hard adjusting. I found that what I was believing in was incorrect before I found what was correct. And I'm gonna tell you something. That was the hardest 2 weeks of my life. I know it seems like a short time, but I was literally tortured, not having Jesus. You see what I'm saying? Not knowing who to turn to. And that's when I saw this brother's videos, and it literally changed my life. It's funny because when we first talked on the phone, as soon as he called, he said, "Hello, brother," and we both just busted out laughing. Uncontrollably, like, wow. But it was at that moment I think we understood each other, man. So it was just awesome. So watching him speak and hearing him give that analogy, for me, it helped me a lot because it is hard hearing these new things. You know, when you've been taught your whole life, or for me, my whole life, something totally different, man. So it is difficult when you say, how do I take this stand? How? Because at the same time, it's like, if I do this, this is not something you can say and then it'll be gone tomorrow. You know, for the rest of my life, I know I have to deal with this. But you know what? That's okay with me. Because I literally love y'all from the bottom of my heart. I don't know you, but I do. I know, I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, I would lay in the bed as a Christian now, crying because I could feel the pain of the world. I mean, when you're that in tune with God, there's no way around it. You have to love your neighbor. And that's the thing about it, is like when you grow up in a certain religion and you see the world and you say, you know what, if this religion is right, then why is the world still in so much damage? But then you look at your religion and you say, it says there's going to be problems. But wait a second, time out. If we have love in our heart, why would we just wait on God to show up to help if we know there's issues? You see what I'm saying? So if you're constantly saying, you know what, I'm gonna pray for you, don't pray for me, do for me. If you can help me, and that's what we become comfortable with as Christians. You know, I had a brother a while back, and he was telling me about how God had blessed him so much. And then there was another brother who had a need, and he told him, he said, well, brother, right now I'm not doing that well. And he said, well, I'll pray for you. Now this guy was telling him all these things, all this money he had coming in, all this money he had saved, and how well he was doing. And he said, well, how are you doing? And he tells him, man, right now I'm not doing well. You know, it's slow at work. I don't really know how I'm gonna pay my next bill, man. I had to downsize. They're about to take my car, all these things. And he said, you know what, bro, I'm gonna pray for you. Can I pray with you right now? And I'm like, so you can do all of this talking, and then when it comes time to literally help somebody, oh, you want to pray for me? You want to pray for this man? And it's so common because it's like, that's honorable. We look at that as honorable, that this brother is going to take his time out of his day to say some words to the sky for this brother who obviously needs help. But here's the thing. Have you ever prayed for somebody for a tangible need and walked away and that need was already met? Have you? God, please put money in this man's pocket. Have you ever walked away and that person had what they needed? No, they're still in the same predicament they're in. Now, here's the flip side. The person who was prayed for, right? Let's just say down the road something happens and they come into a little bit of money. Oh, I'm glad God listened to that man's prayer. So we're built to give credit to this thing. We're built to say, you know, even if he doesn't do it, it's just not in his will. It's meant for me to suffer right now because this is going to make me a better person. See, now, with my understanding now, and then when I heard this, it was like I was already becoming awake, as we call it. So I didn't like that. But years ago, I would have saw that and said, wow, that's amazing. And he took the time out of his day to pray for that guy, you know. But why not say, what's really going on in your life? Do you know how to manage funds? You know, how about show this person how to pick himself up, take responsibility. That's the beauty of this thing to me, is we can change our lives now, not having to wait on somebody to open a door. Have y'all been there? I don't know how long you guys have been out of this, but for me, it's not that long. And I know it's always like, well, God, is this in your will? You know, and the thing about it, if that desire is there for you, then it is. It is. But you're always telling yourself, you know what? God, can you just do this for me? Do this for me. And you're always standing there with your hands out and your life stays the same way it's staying. And you're wondering why it's not changing. Well, God, I tithe. I go to church every Sunday because somebody's teaching you that these things will change your life. If you just show up here every Sunday and hear a message about Daniel in the lion's den, okay, you're going to leave up out of here happy, but you're going to get in your car, go home, you're going to eat a little bit of food, and you're going to still be the same. What is the story about a Daniel in a lion's den going to do to help your situation today? They sound good, don't get me wrong. I've been there. I've been the very one out there shouting hallelujah off of these messages. And you can pour from them, but how much more powerful is to talk about what our people have been through for us? How much more powerful is it to talk about what Malcolm X did for us? What Dr. Martin Luther King did? You see what I'm saying? If we're talking about these type of things, I believe that we can understand that, hey, I can do these things too. That's somebody you can see. You know they existed. So how can I come into a building and hear about, a lady with an issue of blood and pertain that to my situation? I don't know this lady. I haven't seen her. I don't even know if she existed. So it's very complicated to try to say, you know what, I'm going to apply that to my life. But I can see some of these other brothers and sisters, Harriet Tubman, people who've done amazing things. Why not talk about these things? Things that we can say, hey, I can relate to that. You see? But it's amazing how when you talk to people about things like this, you're a demon. How are you a demon? By trying to build people. By trying to show people that they can do more than they've already done. But this is the mindset of religion. You see what I'm saying? And it's funny because it's like now you have many people. I have so many people telling me I am going to burn in hell. And like I said, I know it's not true, but when I read it, it hurts me still because I do understand where they're coming from. If you would have talked to me a year ago, I'd have been saying the same thing to me. If somebody would have showed me this, that I'd be standing up here saying Jesus never existed. I would have been like, you a devil and a lie. The truth ain't in you. I'd have been ready to fight. You see what I'm saying? Don't you dare tell me that I'll turn my back on Jesus. It was everything that I had. You see, so when I tell you that those 2 weeks for me was like, what do I do? Literally crying. I don't know what to do. And that's when I saw his videos. I think the first one was called A Well-Dressed Lie. And that, yeah. Oh, yeah. and the way he broke down how if somebody tells you something first, we'll accept that as truth. And the crazy thing is, if you hear this over and over again, once you hear a lie, you automatically say that's a lie. But why? Because you've already been told something first. And that right there is the basis of most people's beliefs, is that they're believing what they were told first. So we talk about Christianity in terms of theology, but we know that it's a little deeper than that. And you have people who will claim subscribe to Christianity simply because their mother goes to church, or everybody around them is Christian. They've never read a Bible and will tell me I'm going to hell for not believing in Jesus. But that's how strong it can be. And when you're trying to tell them, say, hey, brother, you never even read this thing. Well, that don't make it not true. Well, you're right. You're absolutely right. Well, I'm going to tell you what does make it not true. The fact that Adam is predated by sculptures that still stand strong today. Does that not make it untrue? But here's how strong the mental bonds are, though. Well, God went back in time and did those things just to test us. I promise you. I had a lady tell me that God went back in time, planted dinosaur bones, okay, just to test your faith. Why would you worship a God like that? You believe God did that and you really? So it's just a big game, huh? So I'm supposed to believe, okay, God, I know you just tested me, so I'm going to ignore all these facts that's presented right in front of me, and I'm just going to have faith and believe you because I want to go to heaven. That's just not good enough for me. I'm not going to accept that anymore. It's one of those things where at some point, faith has to stop being honorable. Faith has to stop being something you brag about like it's a badge of honor. Why is it okay to believe in something you never saw? Why? Why is it okay to believe in something you've never touched? But because religion teaches us this, right? It's the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And we'll say these things in church and get excited about them. Well, I ain't never seen them, but hey, I have real faith because I saw him before. I haven't saw him. Now, if I see him, that ain't real faith because I know he exists because I'm more blessed to not see him. What? Has anybody else faced this?
Oh, yeah, brother, of course, yes.
But standing on this side, it's like, wow, those are weak excuses.
Yes.
But when you're on that side, they feel strong. They feel so solid, brother. I just know he's real because I said a prayer one time and it was answered. You know, I know it's real because I had a need one time and that need was met. So that means that Jesus is real because you said a prayer and that prayer was answered. Or you said a prayer and the thing you prayed for, you no longer have that need. So that must mean that Jesus was born of a virgin, died on the cross, and rose again 3 days later.
Teach, brother.
Why does that have to mean that?
Teach.
But see, that's all we're tied to. So that's why that has to be real, because we need it to be. Who wants to be told that what they've been faced with their entire life is false? Who wants to be told that what they've contributed to their entire life is false? And that's just the thing. Once it hits you, immediately regret sets in. Anger, disappointment. I've been praying to this thing for how long?
All right, brother.
I've been devoting how much time to this thing?
All right, brother.
Not just the time you put in thinking it's going to get you somewhere. You know, I'm okay with that. I was wrong. I'm happy now that I know. But it's the people that you led to that thing, that you made to be strong in that thing. I have friends of mine who are warriors, okay, for Christ. And they will argue me up and down, and it's exhausting because we used to sit here and read scriptures together. I'm talking about as teenagers. We were always for real about this. We never played. And we believed that iron sharpened iron. And so we'd always talk about, you know, scripture and make us stronger with it, and, you know, and solidify yourself in it. And those brothers got good. So those are the hardest people in the world to talk to. And for them, it's like, bro, you really made the turn, because like I never would expect you to do this. It's just mind boggling. But I wish they would understand that I came across something, you know, that was solid, more solid than what I thought I believed in, more solid than what I had placed my faith in. You see what I'm saying? But I don't use faith anymore. I use knowledge now, because knowledge can truly make you stronger. Faith, it makes the person you believe in strong. You're weak. You're nothing. Nothing's good in you. This is what we're taught. If you're taught that no thing is good inside of you, how can you ever go out and do anything on your own? Right?
Talk good, brother.
How can you? I can do all things through Christ. I'm here to tell you, you can do all things, period. Period. How about become Christ? That's this story that we've been told. How about become that? How about help people? And then they'll truly see God. Instead of hiding behind these religions and saying, oh, I go to church every Sunday. You're on here criticizing me, threatening me with hell. And it's no offense to anybody, but I go look at your page and it's like, you believe in God? I won't even attach you to a religion based on some of the things I've saw. But they have enough in them to tell me I'm going to hell. And what about the countless people who subscribe to Christianity and live their lives like whatever they want to anyway? They're not a problem. They're not more of a problem than what you think I am to your religion. Because that's what destroys your own religion. We want people to believe and have faith in our religion as Christians. But on December 25th, we got manger set up.
All right, brother.
Does the Bible tell us that he's born on December 25th?
No. Teach,
so why do we lead people on to believe this? And then you wonder why people are weak and don't really understand what they believe. Because you consistently lie to everybody around you by putting up these mangers. We know he wasn't born at that time. Well, I'm not telling people that he was. Yes, you are. Absolutely you are. If you put that out there, symbolic for that on that day, and every other church is doing it too. You ask any Christian who didn't go to Bible college, okay, when was Jesus born? They're going to tell you December 25th. Period. So how about strengthen your own religion before you criticize me? Because it's your religion, it's the way you practice your own religion that makes it so weak and frail and fragile. And then you say, well, you must have went to a church that didn't teach you to do it correctly. What church does do it correctly?
All right, brother.
Because that's what threw me off in the first place, trying to be correct biblically. So I'm growing up in church. I'm listening to preachers all the time. I'm going to different services, different places. I was always in church. And then I started reading the Bible for myself one day. And when I started reading it for myself, I said, this is not how Christianity is practiced now. Where did this thing come from? Why do we do the things that we do? Because none of this seems to line up here. And I remember standing in front of my church and preaching that message. about how we're doing things incorrectly. Okay. After this service, I had a lady come up to me and say, well, we already knew that. Blew my mind. She was an elder in the church. She said, we already knew that. In fact, we left our last church because they didn't want us practicing these things. Christmas tree right in the middle of the church. Yeah. So it was like, why are we doing these things? And they said, well, we already know that the Bible talks about not doing these things, or it's not at least condoned in the Bible. Okay. So why do you do them? Well, that's not why we do it. What do you mean that's not why you do it? I know it's not supposed to be given to God, but that's not, we do it because it's celebration. So I would say to them, well, what about the Israelites when Moses went to get the 10 Commandments and they built the golden calf? Wasn't that out of tradition? They just came from Egypt, right? Evil Egypt. They didn't know any better, so they built a calf, right? Let's build a calf. What did God say at that point? He told Moses, your people are down there worshiping false gods. Right. Now, this whole time, Moses' message was my people. Let my people go. He was quoting God, right? Mm-hmm. Let my people. These were the exact words from God. So when did it turn over to your people? Mm-hmm. So you take a people out of their land, okay, out of where they were enslaved, supposedly, right? Mm-hmm. Out of where they were supposedly enslaved. And not even, it's not, I forget, I don't know the time frame that it took for them to make it to Mount Sinai. But that's a short time frame because they were supposed to make it where they were supposed to go in about 40 days, right? Mm-hmm. So we know it couldn't have taken that long to get to Mount Sinai. And already they building a calf. Now these people saw a Red Sea parted, a staff turned to a snake. I mean, they done saw more miracles than I ever could see in my life. Yet they're going to build a golden calf. And God ain't got no patience for it. 3,000 of them end up getting killed, right? So this is what I would ask them. 3,000. You brought them out to do worse to them than that Pharaoh ever could. You killed 3,000 of them. And just like that, didn't even matter. But you cared enough about them to rescue them, but then you're going to kill them. It just don't make any sense. But, right. So I would say to them that, so what does it mean to God to set up these trees and all these things and hide all these eggs and things? So we said that's not what it means to me. But what does it mean to God? So I would ask them questions like, say if you had a wife and your wife tells you, I know my last husband's birthday, right, was February. I know yours is October, but I'm celebrating you in February because that's what I'm used to. I don't mean any harm by it because that's not what it means to me. Okay, I'm not attached to that last guy at all, but I'm just used to doing it in February. So if that's okay with you, you get it in February. Also, I'm going to get you the kind of cologne that he liked. I know you don't like it, but I don't mean it like that. You see how it looks? God, I offer this up to you. And he said, I don't want that. That's not how I am to be praised according to literature, according to biblical literature. That's not how he was to be praised. But yet we offer it up to him. And then we have all these reasons for it. But here's the thing. If we didn't read this, then where did we get it from? Because we do what we see everybody else do. And I try to tell people, what if I were to tell you that what you believed in wasn't real at all? It's just popular.
That's beautifully said.
And people don't want to hear that, brother. People don't want to hear that what they believe in is really just demographics.
Right.
Wow. So what if I had been born in a different place? I would literally believe in a different God. Unfortunately, yes, you would.
Yes, you would.
And also, you would also think that was the one true God.
That's right.
So at some point, when can you say, you know what, I'm going to swallow my pride and accept that maybe, just maybe, I've been misinformed.
Teach.
But anybody telling you this is a devil. You know why? Because they teach you oh so well that if anybody says anything to you that doesn't line up with that word that you read from, oh, they're a devil indeed. A devil indeed. It's not hard. It's not even complicated. Now, you can have a prophet come in and he'll say something to you and you know it don't line up with your spirit, but you'll still be like, yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to get a car? Oh, okay, great. Fantastic. Woo! Good. They'll literally tell you to embarrass yourself. Run around this church and shout as loud as you can. That ain't even my comfort zone. I don't even do that. But if I do it, I'm going to get a car. I'm going to take off running. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. You can have a car and you still do that for a car, right? It's a lot less than car payments. I'd rather run around and be embarrassed one time and get this gift that they gave me, that they're telling me God wants to give me. It's never about changing your life. It's never about saying, you know what, if you don't get this thing right, it's always you're going to get something. And they don't even be specific. You know, it's something you've been asking God for. And you look, oh, this dude, this is a bad brother. But you don't realize how foolish that is because it's common. And you'll see it. The church is packed out on that day. And the very people who put that finger up and tiptoe out, they stay all day that day, don't they? He taking long, and I'm sitting there like, man, will you hurry up? Because I know God got a word for me. That's the only reason I'm here. I know he got a word for me. But who is God that he can't speak to you? Teach. And that's what I mean. You've got this thing where it's saying, okay, nothing in us is good. But then you have another person who's anointed. And they can hear from God where you can't. So now you devote your whole life to sitting under them and having them continue to tell you what thus saith the Lord. No matter what. I remember times where, you know, I would be invited to go speak, and they would say, that ain't in God's will. Oh, yeah. And I would say, what? How do you know that? How do you know that's not in God's will and I don't? Why wouldn't he tell me? Because I don't feel that in my spirit at all. But they know it's not in God's will. And what do? You listen. Because in your mind, they're closer to God than you are, and they must be right. But it's crazy because as soon as you get to a level, and I hate to use that word, but you know, when you're a babe in Christ, you don't hang out with elders. Okay. But as you grow and you learn the word, those people begin to take you under their wing. And then you get around them and you start saying, man, y'all are not godly at all. How can you tell me what God says? I'm around you now. I see you don't do anything like you say you do. And it's very discouraging because it's like, I thought you were this. And that's what religion is. You start looking to other people to be strong for you. Man, you be strong for you. What do you need another person? You have people who will criticize your character, right? Some things they may say about you may be true. And see, here's my thing. If I hear a rumor so bad about this brother right here, it ain't gonna make a difference in my walk in life. I love him to death, but I'm not gonna say, well, if he doing that, I ain't gonna be like this no more. Man, I got my own walk. And who am I to say, man, because I had a lady tell me that she wouldn't watch Hidden Colors by Tariq Nasheed. If you've seen this, have y'all seen this? She said one of his videos, he looked high in it. Oh, wow. So because he looked high in one of his videos, he can't now teach you the truth. So now everything he's saying is a lie because you feel like he's fallible now. Did you think he was perfect to begin with? Right, brother. Teach. So, because if that's the case, nobody's qualified to teach you truth. Because we all have flaws. None of us are perfect. But because we've been raised in that type of atmosphere, you have to be. If I'm gonna listen to what you say, and I get this all day now from Christians, okay? From their side, it's honorable to shout out at you that you're going to hell. Let us do that. Let us shout out, you're wrong. Jesus ain't real. They'll be ready to get you, won't they? But we understand where they're coming from. You see what I'm saying? So you can have a brother who went to school, learned, and they'll say, well, he's just been indoctrinated in school, or he's been brainwashed. Okay, so even though they're out there spreading the word, what they have learned to be true, if it's contrary to the Bible, they're brainwashed and they're an agent, regardless of all the knowledge that they acquired. Okay, but if you're a Christian scholar, you get to go by the name doctor, of course, right? And everybody now is going to listen to what you say. Why? Because you went to school. That's right. But if I say something that's contrary to what you believe, and I went to school, now I'm an agent. Right. You see the problem with this? Yes. So they have free will to throw stones at you. But you can't say anything in return to condemn them at all. Because we understand that they're not to be condemned. But it's a platform where it's like it's unfair because you don't have it's not a level playing field because you can't truly talk to them the way you want to. You see what I'm saying? Because you have to respect their beliefs. And if you give it all to them, they'll never want to speak to you again. So you have to give it to them bit by bit and let them digest it. The same way you do with that circumference of awareness. Understand that I'm going to say some things that you've never heard or that you haven't learned before. But that doesn't mean I'm lying to you. You see what I'm saying? So if you have anybody read a book and then all of a sudden a movie comes out to that book and the people who read the book say that movie was whack, it in no way broke that book down. But the people who see the movie, that movie's awesome. So to the people that read the book, they say, man, they didn't really portray it correctly. You see what I'm saying? And to the people that saw the movie, it's just fine. Well, that's how religion can be. You know, it's to me when I first went to church, I felt closer to God really my entire life. And I felt further from him the more I learned literature, the more I learned scripture, because I was constantly told, oh, you have to do it this way. You know, you have to do it this way. You have to come to God with a contrite heart. Well, I mean, I don't know if my heart is contrite or not, but I know I need to talk to him. You see what I'm saying? So you always have to question yourself as if you're this person who doesn't even have a right to talk to God. And so we seek each other out. We seek other people out who we feel like are more powerful than us and say, you know what, can you pray for me? I'm having this problem. And without offering you a true solution to fixing that problem so you don't end up in that situation again, we just going to pray for you. We're going to have you come up. And you may have somebody out here in the crowd who says, you want me to go with you? It's an altar call. You want me to go with you, brother? And they'll say, you know what? Yeah, I'll go with you. Soon as that brother stands up, everybody's already losing their mind because they've been praying that he got saved. They didn't offer him any solution on how to make his life better and not end up back in that same position, though. They just simply said, repeat after me. Right? And then once you say repeat after me and then they repeat this prayer with you, they're now saved. They're forgiven. They're going to heaven, right? And everybody's excited for them. Then that brother leaves or that sister leaves. No clue what to do. So here's what I said as a church member or as a preacher. I'm going to provide aid to people who just get saved. So I had a beginners program where if you got saved, I would give you information. I'd give you my phone number, and other brothers would also give you their phone numbers, and sisters if you're a female. And so you can call them at any time. That way we could help keep you into it, right? But that didn't help. It didn't help at all. Again, you can put all the effort you want to into a thing. If it is not true, it's not going to hold. Thank you, especially if you're going to be willing to research yourself and say, I want to know the truth myself. I don't want to just stand up here and preach what I heard. I don't want to do it. I can't do it. Because what if I'm wrong? There are other people whose souls are on the line. So they say, well, Kevin, have you thought about that now? Of course I have. But I know I'm right. So if there's anything that I can say is like, when you believe in things that you don't see, you hope that you're right. You hope that, you know, when this life is over, that you'll open your eyes in heaven. You know, so, but you don't go through being criticized at all, really. But this right here is something totally different. People can literally hate you, want you dead, threaten you. I get messages like this all the time. You know, I was talking to him this morning, like, bro, you sure I should come out there? I mean, I don't want to get hurt on my first time speaking. That'd be the first time for anybody, wouldn't it? But I mean, that was a real fear for me because I hear this all the time. You see what I'm saying? But the thing now that gives me the confidence is not waking up to some better place. It's creating this place to be better. You see what I'm saying? I know this. The fear of hell can be so great. You'll lay down at night and say, God, if there's anything that I did today that I didn't know I did, please forgive me. Because I don't want to go to hell. Now, we haven't taken any thought for our next day and how to better our lives. OK, most of us don't even have life insurance. If we die, they ain't gonna be able to bury us. But we're terrified of hell. But our lives are in shambles. Why? Because of this teaching. You're more afraid of going to a place you've never even saw before, never even felt before. So much so that you'll cry in tears that God forgive you. You're supposed to be saved. And you'll still lay down and say, God, I had a thought today, and I don't want that thought to put me in hell beside a rapist. That doesn't seem fair. So let's just imagine that. One guy over here, he's burning, he's a rapist. Then you got probably Adolf Hitler over here, right? Then I just thought about having sex with a woman or something. Okay? I was hungry and I thought about stealing something. I'm going to be in the same hell with them off of a thought. But that's religion. I've never been criticized as a man before. I've always lived right in front of people. Okay, I've never been perfect, but I've always said I'm not going to allow people to see me commit certain sins. You see what I'm saying? Because I know how it is. Somebody see you fall, it's over. You will never be able to speak to that person again. Right? I mean, the Bible even tell you if somebody don't want you to drink, don't drink, because they may not want to listen to you. So you're taught to understand other people's awareness. If they don't feel like you should drink, don't. Why would you go ahead and burden that person with that, knowing they'll be offended? Just don't do it. Right? So we have these understandings. And even now you try to use the same method to not offend, but you're going to. If you cannot tell somebody that the God they believe in, the God that they subscribe to is not real and not offend them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So that was my problem. It was like, when do I actually come out and say this? So this happened for me about maybe 6 or 7, maybe 8 months ago. And as soon as I saw the truth, I immediately stopped teaching this Jesus stuff. Okay. And I started posting things on my Facebook page that was hinting to it, but I never came right out and said it. And it was that one day I came out and said, I quoted Dr. Ray Hagins. And it just said, what if the Bible is not the word of God? What if it is not the word of God? And that just struck people, man. And they didn't like that. And my next video was not any intent on going viral. I was simply explaining to these people that I'm going to continue to teach this. Okay. I believe what I taught when I taught Christianity. And I'm going to teach what I'm teaching now because I believe it to be true. I know it to be true. Why would I stop? Right. You know, if something's in you, you're not going to change. Right. You see what I'm saying? I have some of my best friends who say, Kevin, man, you're one of those type of guys that when you put your heart to something, you just do it. And sometimes you can get carried away. Mm-hmm. I don't like the sound of that. You know, so I'm wrong for having fire, for having zeal. All right. Nobody ever had a problem with that whenever I was saved. Right. Exactly. When I was going overseas and giving away food. And clothes and money. Nobody had a problem with it then. But now all of a sudden, I'm moving too fast. I'm getting ahead of everybody. But when I look at this world, I got 2 sons and a beautiful daughter. There's no way I can't teach the truth. There's no way. I cannot look my kids in the face and teach them that something that's not true. And I know y'all can't either. And I think the thing is the rest of the world has to make that decision too. You know, are you going to continue to teach this thing to your children? Kevin, you must be mad at God. You must be mad at Jesus. You know, that would be crazy because he doesn't exist. Right. Now, I was mad at him. Okay. Not now, but I was mad at him for about 2 weeks now. Even understanding that it wasn't real. Everybody has to work it out on their own way. You see what I'm saying? I would go into my garage. Nobody was around. Lock that thing up. And I would shout, why in the world? Would you not show up? Just be real. Show up for me. Yes. I depended on you. And these were things I was saying. And one day it just hit me. Who the heck are you talking to? It's like I went from one level to like a whole different level of crazy now. Because now I know it's not fact. And I'm still talking to him. But it was one of those things where it was like I needed to get that out of me. You see what I'm saying? I needed to. Because I knew that I was no longer going to take that with me anymore. So now, am I upset at Jesus there? It would be impossible. That's like me being upset at Spider-Man. And I know people are here and get offended by that. But I'm not meaning that to be offensive. According to literature, Spider-Man is real. He's real. And you have people who was devout to that literature. They'll argue. They'll argue over that literature. When did Venom come in? Did Spider-Man start off with the red suit? And they'll be lit. I mean, there's places that people spend money to go to dress like this. Okay? So it's one of those things that people really look at it like that. In the same way. And people don't want to hear it. People don't want to hear it. The same way that literature is also fiction. It's also not true. Okay? It's also not fact. It didn't historically happen. And that's the thing. I'm not trying to offend people by telling them what they believe in is not real. I'm simply saying it's not correct according to history. Okay, so the Bible is not backed by historical evidence. You see what I'm saying? So if you're reading literature, you might fire back with literature, and that's one of the things that really struck me as odd. If I'm telling you that I no longer hold that to be the inerrant word of God, why are you quoting it? Exactly. Thank you, brother. As a means to get me to believe in it as the inerrant word of God. This doesn't make sense. It doesn't make no sense at all. So when they come to me and they give me all these long scriptures about and telling me I'm going to hell, I say, and I understand that. but in 325 AD. So, I mean, who cares who's indoctrinated the most? Why do you want to debate me? What? Whoever knows the most about the Bible proves that God is real or not real? I've obviously just scratched the surface on what I'm now coming to know. So I'm not prepared to debate with anyone, but I know that's not true. You see what I'm saying? I've done enough research to understand what I believed in was not fact. Okay. So can I take what I learned in 6 months and go out and start a ministry with it? You know, probably not. But what I believe that this world needs, it doesn't really require knowing that in depth. You see what I'm saying? Once you understand that it's about responsibility, okay? No matter who you are, to stand up and take control of your life and stop depending on somebody else, some being, to come back and save you, rescue you. You can change your situation. And you have to think about that. There's people who we love and adore who believe that Jesus is coming back to save them, who believe they won't die. They believe that God is going to come back before they die and rescue them. And so there's no need to clean up this situation. You know, this world is bad. You must know God about to come back. Because look at it. It said it'd be earthquakes. Really? So I can say something as broad as there'll be wars and rumors of wars. Hasn't there always? How is that a prophecy? Well, I know the word of God is true because, hey, it said there'll be earthquakes. Oh, okay. Well, if you want to base it on that, then for you, I guess it's true. But I need more than that. It's going to take more than something saying there'll be an earthquake one day. And then you look across the world, it's earthquakes all the time, all the time. So that doesn't make it true because it tells you something that happens. If it said it'll be rain, okay, does that mean that word is true because it rained? At some point, we have to say facts should back what you believe in. If you believe in something, why can't you prove it? And then I have people who say, well, I got the proof. Then why are you not presenting it to everybody instead of wanting to present it to me?
There you go.
Listen, I went to 0 Christians' pages and said anything. I made a video, put it on my page about how I felt.
Yes.
Why don't they do the same? Because they know they don't have evidence.
There you go, brother.
The only reason that they're following me, okay, that they are saying what they're saying to me is because they're stressed out. It's hitting them too. Otherwise, they wouldn't care. You see, it wouldn't bother them. If I was saying something that wasn't legitimate, nobody would care what I was saying. Nobody. Before that video went out, nobody knew who I was. I had a few friends on there or whatever, but nobody knew who I was. But why do they know who I am now?
All right.
It's amazing what truth can do, ain't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing. I put up a picture of me in that car. I took the video and paused it and just screenshot it, okay? And I put a meme up and it said, who would have knew that the truth could shake the world up from a 4-door sedan?
Yeah.
A 7-minute video can make somebody turn their back on Jesus Christ. This is something I put my whole life into. But why can't a 7-minute video make people question what they believe?
Yes.
Because it ain't true.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So if you had enough evidence back on what you believed, I'd have never made that video. You would never be caring about why I made that video. It's not real. You see what I'm saying? So it's like we have a mission. We have a big road ahead of us. Because the people that we're trying to teach this to, they love this thing. This isn't just a simple book trying to figure out who wrote it. These people believe that this is the inspired, inerrant word of God. But how can the inspired, inerrant word of God be voted upon?
Teach, brother.
How? So I'm supposed to accept this book that you give me, that you guys voted upon, and say this is what God says?
Teach.
And everything I do in my life has to line up with this right here,
Teach.
with all the discrepancies in it.
Teach.
It's crazy because once you really lose that fear of hell, you start to question the Bible.
All right, brother.
And then you really see the discrepancies in it. So it's funny because I thought about this, how with God being all powerful, as the literature says it, right? And then why would he allow King Herod to kill every child under 2 years old?
Right, exactly.
Every child under 2 years old.
Okay.
And he told Joseph to run and hide. Now if I'm Joseph, God, that's your son.
Okay.
This is your son now. Why don't you just kill Herod? I don't understand. Now, saying these type of things, you're blasphemous. You're questioning God. Listen, what I'm saying is that's not God. That literature is not God. You see, because God is omnipotent, right? He's omniscient. He knows everything. So if he's omniscient, how is somebody like myself, how can I look at his word and say, man, I got a better plan than that? I certainly wouldn't have allowed all those babies to be destroyed and killed. By the way, also not true, but it's in the literature. Okay, so now they haven't found any of those babies, of course. They're not going to find any of it because it's not real. But at the same time, when we look at these things, we look at them and say, you know what? God allowed every baby, okay, under 2 years old to be killed. But God is a good God. How do we get that? How do we reach that point in our life? Well, we can say God took these Israelites who didn't know any better and had 3,000 of them slaughtered. But he's good. He's a good God, and he's all love. Was that a display of love? What about these mothers and parents whose child was killed looking for Jesus? Did they say God is good all the time? Yes, he is. Was he an on-time God when their child was laying on that ground dead? According to the literature. So that's the thing. It's like when we look at these books and we say, you know what? I'm reading it now, and now I'm starting to see things ain't lining up now. Because you made man and you said it was good. But then you prayed to yourself that you were sorry for making man. Now, number one, how did somebody document that? Because it said God said to himself. Yes, brother. He didn't say, write this down. How can you say that to yourself and somebody be able to document that? Make us think. Make us think. Make us think. So you regret making us now. So you destroy the whole world except for one family, and then allow Satan to live and mess it up again. Wow. Right. So man now has messed up. Right. So God said, I'm gonna kill everything. So you're gonna kill the trees because man messed up. You're gonna kill the flowers, the birds, the bees, every animal. It said man was being married to sons of God. So why are we killing all these animals then? It seems that you could just say heart attack for everybody. You're God. So with Moses, you use plagues, right? And you can just make every firstborn child just drop dead like that. But all these giants, all these things that's roaming the earth now you have to use water and kill everybody, kill everything. But then where'd the water go? But you can't ask questions like this because you're going to go to hell. Because some elder in church is going to say, don't question God. His ways are not like ours, but we made in his image. We made in his image, but he's so mysterious, though. If we're made in his image, then why is his ways not like ours? Because I most certainly wouldn't have killed everything if I was presented with this problem. And I'm not God. I'm not all-knowing. But this is what I do now. I look at these things and I say, hey, I don't have the knowledge of a lot of these people out here, especially Dr. Ray Hagins, okay? But when I look at these scriptures and I say, you know what? Now that I'm not afraid to challenge them, none of them seem to really add up. So how was I ever into this thing so? Because when you brainwashed, that's just kind of how it goes. You know, as a child, you can have a parent who can literally beat you. Okay, as a woman, you can have a husband who beats you, and you'll still feel like they love you. I remember getting whippings as a kid, and I always got real close to my grandma after she beat my butt. You know, I don't know why, but she done whoop me now, so now I feel like I love you. And we take that into our adulthood, but we have to understand: people who treat you badly do not love you. But we believe these things. Why? Because we see a God that, according to this scripture, treats us badly, but yet loves us. So I talked about these stories in the Bible. Okay, he allowed every male child under 2 years old to die. Who you think? How many people you think died, or who had the most people die when King Herod was looking for Jesus, or slavery? So God sat and watched us, this God in this Bible here, and watched us be slaughtered. I had a brother tell me, he said, you know, you don't know what it's like to be a slave. So quit talking about it. I said, brother, I do know what it's like to be a slave. All right. You know, I know what it's like to be shot down in the streets when you're innocent. Because I know that if I had been in that car, per my skin color, my fate would have been the same. Okay, so when I see pictures of black people hanging from trees, I feel their pain. Because had I been there that day, I would have been hung right beside them. And I got a big mouth. I don't shut up for nobody, so they would have made a public spectacle of me. I know they would have. So think about that. This thing is so crazy. It's like we can still say, you know what, God, you've been there. But then you look back and you see all these people that's died, and you say, well, God, you still been there. You got a way about doing things. We have to understand that this stuff is just not true, man. It's not true. The reason that these things continue is we don't take responsibility. That's the reason. You got a kid at home, and it's so crazy, but I put this on Facebook probably 6 months ago. If you have a child at home, and I know you have to fear that one day they might not come home. Not because they committed some crime, but simply by just being pulled over. Yep. Wow. How can you not be with me in what I'm trying to stand for? Because I'm trying to make that stop. Mm-hmm. I don't want to just go to church and pray every day. I want the world when you walk outside of it to be better. There you go, man. Why is that so hard? Because they care more about their religion than they do their own kids. Yep. Right, brother. Right. And I know because I used to say it too. That nobody meant more to me than Jesus, not even my kids. What in the world was I talking about? Because I had one incident that changed that. One day my son, he's with my sister, and he's had his head out the back car window, and she rolled the power window up, not paying attention, and it choked him. Okay, I'm about an hour away. She calls me. Oh my God, he can't breathe. I'm gonna rush him to the hospital. I probably got there in about 20 minutes. I was not playing. Mm-hmm. And when I remember getting there, and they still had not taken my son to the back. He's coughing, can't breathe. Mm-hmm. And I remember saying, if y'all don't take my son back there, it's gonna be a massacre in here. Like I remember threatening these guys. They could have put me in jail, but I'm not about to sit here and watch my son die. Right. You see what I'm saying? Right. And I prayed to God. I said, God, if you let my son, now I'm Christian. I prayed to God. I said, if you let my son die, I will never worship you again. I knew at that moment I don't love him more than I love my kids. Yeah. That's when it hit me. But here's the crazy thing about it. When it hit me, I felt bad. Ain't that something? And I went to church and repented for that. Wow. Well, I take that back. I don't want forgiveness from that no more. I love my kids with everything in me. And I would do whatever it takes to make sure that they're not hurt in that fashion. And I believe that most of us will too. But we got to get past believing in this stuff. Because if you believe in that, you're going to hold that higher than your kids. Because your soul is on the line. That's what you're thinking. I don't want to go to hell. So it's okay for your child to be shot down. And for me to stand here and say, well, my child was shot down, but I forgive you, Mr. Person who shot my child. I promise you, I wish we lived in a world where we had each other's back so much that if you hurt my child, you got a problem with every one of us. That little girl is my little girl. And if you hurt her, it's a wrap. That's taking responsibility. Because we got to force you to think about your actions before you do what you do. Because if there's no consequences for doing these things, you're not going to stop. And if I'm consistently saying, you know what, I forgive you, like we've been doing this entire time, then how can we ever get to a better place, a better world? I know we all tired of it. And I don't care what you believe in. I know you're tired of it. If you subscribe to any religion that declares it's all about love, I don't care what color you are. You shouldn't be okay with seeing anybody shot dead in the streets. That's right, brother. So, okay, what you're teaching is just for black people. Nah, it's for y'all. It's for anybody. That's right. Because why in the world would you be okay with me being shot if you believe in Jesus, who you believe isn't okay with me being shot? So why are we not out here marching for, not for black people, but for God's children? Thank you. But we're separated, right? You'll have one Christian fight with another Christian about being Baptist or Presbyterian, right? Evangelistic. Y'all can't even get along in your own doctrine. 4,200 religions. And you may know this, but how many sects of Christianity are there? You know right off. It's like thousands. It's like really, it's out there. So just for that one religion, there's that many different sects. Some people say you can't wear open-toed shoes. Yeah. Yes. God cares about It's crazy, man. God cares about open-toed shoes.
Oh. Ain't that something?
That's something to think about. Again, as a Christian, you learn how to respect other people. So you stay out of that argument. So if I would go speak somewhere and I understood how they dressed, I would tell them, when we go there, women, make sure that you got a dress on. Make sure your feet is covered because they don't like that. And they would say, you know what, I respect that. But for me, I don't get that type of respect. Why? Because I don't believe in that Jesus anymore. So if I walk into a church with open-toed shoes on, I'm still a good person. I just need to be trained. But I'm the devil now. Having committed no crime to anyone, I now work for the devil. And I'm not hurting anyone. But this is that thinking. You see what I'm saying? That's that thinking, is that if you don't believe what I believe, you're hell-bound and you're an agent for Lucifer himself. So now Lucifer has somehow endowed me, and I'm going to lead his people astray. But what about the facts I presented? You want to argue scripture, but the things I've told you showed you that from where I stand, I don't put my faith on that scripture. So why quote it? Why not come and show me the evidence? Because that's what I said. I said these beliefs lack evidence. So how about provide that instead of more scripture?
Thank you, brother. That's what I'm talking
Wouldn't that seem like the right thing to do? If this brother standing here saying, I see no evidence showing me that this thing actually happened, what would you do? Show him evidence, right? Especially if you had it. In a courtroom, that's what they do. If I stood up and said, there's no evidence linking Ray Hagins to the murder of such and such, that lawyer on the other side, what then must he do for us to find conviction of this man here? Prove it. But then he stands up and says, well, I ain't got no evidence. But they said, and just repeat what that person said. But there's no evidence, though. So I'm just going to keep repeating what I'm reading from here, the notes that I've taken from my victim or from somebody who knows that victim. I must keep reading from these notes, even though I can't present you with evidence. At some point, that judge is going to say, sir, you don't have a case.
Right.
All you have is these words. Exactly. Words are not proof. Exactly. I can write words.
Thank you, brother.
I have no problem with that. You see, I write words all the time, but that doesn't mean that what I'm saying is truth. So I write it down, it means I'm telling you the truth. I've seen more lies written down than I've heard come out of people's mouths. Okay, I spent my whole life believing a lie. So I know how powerful a lie can be when you believe in it. I got no problem with teaching it as allegorical if you understand that it never happened. The problem is when you teach somebody that this thing literally happened.
Teach, brother.
That can be devastating because you care more about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego than the very people around you who you say you know and love.
That's right. Teach, brother.
Isn't that crazy? Why do these stories have to be true? Why does Noah have to exist? Why? Daniel and the lion's den. Why? Why does this man have to be real? Why do we have to say, okay, he literally existed? Why is that important if the goal is to know God? But it's because we want to believe this word and everything in it. Because we're taught that. If you don't believe this word and everything in it, you're not going to heaven. So it's not so much as I love God. It's more, I don't want to go to hell. Because you didn't love God before I put that video out. I scroll down your wall and look. I look for days, weeks, months, all the way down. I ain't seen nothing about Jesus on your timeline. Still don't. But you come to my page and you sound like a prayer warrior. And I know what you did was take some scriptures, copy and paste them. You see what I'm saying? Because if I said quote all that you just put down, they wouldn't be able to do it. But it's just funny to me how we can go get all this ammunition for somebody for a lifestyle we don't even live.
All right now.
So how do you separate the two? What have I learned on my own and what have I learned from everybody around me? Well, we celebrate Christmas. We celebrate Easter, right? Are these Christian holidays?
No.
As soon as I understood that, I went to my church. And on Easter Sunday, I taught on that.
No.
Why do we call it Easter? Oh, I did, bro. I did. I said, man, why can't we call it Passover? I don't understand. Where does name Easter come from? And I started teaching them about Ishtar. These rituals was with dying eggs the same exact way, and we do these things. But that's not why I do it. Again, why do we use a rabbit?
All right.
Why are we not walking into stores seeing tombs rolled away?
All right, brother.
Because that's what we're celebrating. Isn't that crazy? You go to church in your pretty suit, right? Or your pretty dress. You praise God for dying and rising again. And then you go hide Easter eggs. To me, I don't understand it. How, is this symbolic somehow for Christ dying and rising again? Eating a chocolate bunny. You know, for God's sakes, the symbol that we carried around is a Roman cross used to torture people and kill people.
Teach, brother, teach.
And that's your holy symbol.
Teach.
So if Jesus was shot with a gun, well, we wearing guns around our neck?
All right.
We have guns tattooed on our bodies, huh? If he was stabbed, we have a knife on our neck. So why don't we just go ahead and make the cat of nine tails and start rocking that too? Because he was beat, right?
That's right, brother.
So why don't we go ahead and just do all of that? Why is this cross holy now?
Teach, brother.
Was it holy before he died on it?
All right.
Does the Bible even say he died on it? Like, did he actually die on the cross?
All right, brother.
According to the literature, when you go all the way back, was it a cross?
All right.
I heard it was a tav, is what I hear.
What it was,
A capital T, not a lowercase t.
Exactly.
So why do we still... We do not care about getting this thing right. We don't. As a religion, once you understand that your holy symbol is not even made correctly, you think you start going out buying capital T's.
Teach, brother.
I would be buying an initial T.
Teach.
Like my name Thomas or something. It's a capital, and I'll rock that before I wear a cross, because that's not what he even supposedly died on. But we'll wear that and say, you know, this is holy. What else do we get? Hollywood. You see a person possessed with a demon. What does that priest do?
Oh, man.
He holds up that cross.
Teach, brother.
I don't know that the Bible, and I could be wrong, but I don't know that the Bible ever suggests that a cross has power.
It doesn't.
We get this from movies, though. So we'll hold it up and the demon, so much so that if we wear it around our neck and we have any type of fear for our life, we'll start touching on that thing.
Yeah, right.
Kissing it. Because we're only repeating what we saw. It doesn't mean it's true.
That's right, brother.
So that's how strong the bondage goes. It's not that you're reading this literature. It's that you're seeing everybody else do these things and you're also doing these things. It's not about truth at all. It's just about what you were born into and what you've been doing. So how else can we think a cross has power if the Bible doesn't say it?
Teach.
Imaging.
Teach.
They showed us it has power. How else would we assume we don't have power? Imaging. They teach us we don't have any power, right? I thought I had power until I realized all that stuff was not real. I was telling her earlier that I thought that this Bible had all this power in it. And when I understood that it wasn't real, it literally shook everything in me.
Yes, sir.
Where is power then? And now that I realize the lie, I am more powerful than I ever been.
Yes, sir.
And I would have never thought I could say that.
Yes, sir.
And now more than ever, truly greater is he that is in me
Yes.
than he that is in the world.
Yes, sir.
I always thought about that and said that's Jesus living inside of me, you know, because he's great and he lives in me and he's greater than anybody. But now you understand, okay, who you were calling Jesus was God all along. Okay, you just gave him these names because you read them in a book. Yeah, you may have a prayer answered. Okay, you may have said a prayer and then all of a sudden, you know, something happened for you that changed. You know, it changed. So we say, I give credit to God. I give credit to Jesus. That doesn't make him real.
Yes.
So that's the biggest thing I hear is people say, well, you know what? I felt him. I've had experiences. I'm sure you have. I thought I had too. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make it real. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So like when you're told certain words, you hear a certain poem like my sister just did earlier. These things can move you.
Yes.
And they can literally say nothing about God. Okay, I cried on Antoine Fisher. It wasn't about Jesus. So me crying at the end of that movie, does that mean Jesus is real? Because when it first hit me, when he was telling Denzel Washington how much he meant to him, and then Denzel flipped it on him and said it back to him, I said, God. I imagine me getting to heaven and looking Jesus in his face, and he tell me that, you know what, brother, it's you, man. I respect you, and I'll be like, oh, here's my crown. You can have it. But that's our beliefs, man, and that's what we grow up believing in 100%. And it's extremely difficult to undo that. And that's why I say it's like you can't really learn until you unlearn. They used to always say to me, like, imagine having a closed fist and wanting somebody to put something in it. If you're holding on to what you have, how can somebody give you something else? But why would you let go of it? Well, first off, we can show you that it's not true, that it's not real. That gave me the ability to let go of it. What am I going to hold on to that for? I'll let go of it not having anything else to grab onto. I did not care. I wasn't going to spend another day living a lie. I wasn't going to do it. And that's why I say I look at it and I thank God to this day that I saw his video. And it's funny because whenever he called me that day, that's why we started laughing. I think we just knew each other's heart, you know. And people see this video when he shared it, they were like, you know that brother? That brother sounds just like you. Look, I can't help it. Okay. When you listen to somebody and they do so much for you in your life, you're gonna sound like that person. You know, before him, I tried to sound like Jesus. You know, the person I tried to be like. So I would try to do things the way I thought he would do them. Nobody had a problem with that, though. Never heard him, but I was trying to do what I thought he would be doing. You know, what would Jesus do? You know, so I'm trying my best to live that life, honestly, wholeheartedly. So it's like when you hear somebody speaking and they become something great to you, absolutely, you will sound like them. Why not? And it's funny because when I saw it, he had asked who I was, and I saw another brother say, I don't know, but I'll find out. And at the time, I couldn't I actually comment on your page. So I actually sent that guy a message and said, please tell him who I am. You know, I never thought this would happen. I just wanted to meet him. Because when somebody do something that's so great in your life, you would love to be able to tell them to their face, thank you so much. And when I first talked to him, it was like he was telling me he was to a point where he just felt like people wasn't listening. And I said, wow, how could you? Because I listen to him every day. So I don't see how he could think that, you know. But when you're in a place and you say, hey, you're teaching here, you don't know who all you're touching all across the world. Mm-hmm. Thank you, brother. You don't know. You have no clue. You think that nobody's listening, but they are. Mm-hmm. I was showing him earlier today the amount of messages that I've gotten saying, have you listened to Dr. Ray Hagins? You should listen. You should check him out. That brother bad. You see, you should go listen to Dr. Ray Hagins, man. He got mad knowledge. And I'm sitting here like, brother, I'm about to speak. I know I'm with him now. And I'm over here. Check this out, right? Because I want him to know that he's needed. You understand? I want him to know that people are listening. I remember listening to you. I was probably about 3 or 4 months in of listening to you every day. Okay. And I said to myself, if I can be to one person what he has been to me, I'll be all right. To be able to give somebody support again, to be able to give somebody's life purpose again once they've lost it all. You see what I'm saying? So if you lose this thing and you don't know what else to grab onto, you feel like your life is really meaningless, that it has been for all this time. And what you thought you were building was literally nothing. A house made of straw. Simple big bad wolf can come and blow it down with a little bit of truth. And now you left there naked, just like Adam and Eve after eating that knowledge. It's funny because these things are allegory, right? So when I look at that and I say, okay, they ate this knowledge and then realized that they were naked. So did we. When you eat this knowledge and you realize we as a people have been stripped. Because before you recognize our actual history, we say, man, we came a long way. This is what I always say, man, we came a long way, because you're looking at slavery. We're looking at what they show us in February, but there's more to this story. So then you go back and you say, man, we were great at one point. And then you look around and say, man, we haven't came that far from where we were. You see what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where you can look back and see people of your color doing amazing things. And nothing gives you more inspiration than that. Saying, you know what, my people didn't come from no bunch of slaves, not just slaves. We may have went through that in our history, but that's like small. That's like a grain of sand compared to the beach. When you talk about our true history, we started it all. So people say to me, you know, how can I find what you found? I simply was researching myself, my people and where I came from. And I really think it's impossible for you to find out who you are and what you came from and come out of it still a Christian. I believe it's impossible. I believe it's impossible. Once you find out who you are, why would you come out believing something that you know your people was taught way later, that we existed way prior to this thing being handed to us? That even when it was taught, there was no even book at the time. So it was literally just somebody talking to you. The first time a Bible was presented was after 325 AD, I believe, something like that. So we believed in this thing long before we ever had literature in front of us. But why? Somebody teaching it to us, or we just doing it on our own? So when you go back and you look at it and you say, wait a second, our people was indoctrinated with this stuff. You know, we didn't start off believing in that. But see, for me, as a Christian man, I would say I thank God for slavery. I know that sounds crazy.
I used to say it too, brother. Yeah.
But if it wasn't for slavery, how would I know Jesus? If they left me over there here in Timbuktu, Egypt, wherever, if they had left me in Africa, what would I be believing in? Would I be dancing around some fire? This is what I thought, okay? Would I have some bone in my lip?
All right.
Because these are the images they show us.
Yes.
So as a child, you grow up saying, man, I don't want to be associated with those people.
Yes. Teach, brother.
Because they teach you to hate yourself. And so now I'm a crazy person now because I love myself and my people. I see the potential in my people, and I know we can be great. But can we be great while holding on to these beliefs? Giving our power to some other deity when we can simply take charge of our own lives and change these things. We know that, you know, there's still people who manipulate our futures. And it has been in recent history, of course. But we can beat that. Most of our problem is through ignorance and not understanding what's happening. And it's like once we can understand that we can't put our trust in this book, I don't believe we'll put our trust in anything. And then you won't believe what you see on the news and what you see in the media. You won't believe these statistics that you've been lied to, that you're told that you commit more crimes than anybody out there. And then statistically, you don't. Isn't that crazy? That we're taught that we're bad, so much so that I can see another brother out and I will be afraid of him, and I'm black too. Ain't that crazy? That we even look at each other and say, man, he's scary to me. Because he's black and wearing his pants a certain way or whatever. So we automatically associate them with being more prone to violence than what anybody else would be. So we wouldn't feel this fear if it was a white man walking down the street. We wouldn't lock our car windows. But we do this to each other. We're divided amongst ourselves off of this hate, thinking that he's going to hurt me because we're in a dark alley.
Teach, brother.
Why? Why is he going to hurt me? Tell the truth. It's because he's black. Even though I'm black, because I've been taught to fear myself, to fear this man. We have to understand we have been lied to. These things are not fact. We don't commit the most crimes. Look at statistics. They prove otherwise. I'm talking about horribly. The statistics are way, way off. We do not do these things that they say we do. We're not ignorant. We're graduating schools at a rapid rate. Black women now have higher IQs than any other race, period. But they don't tell us this. So on the planet, absolutely. So when you start studying these things, you start saying, wait a second, time out. We're not dumb. We're actually very smart. Anything we put our mind to, we can do. I mean, you set us free not long ago. And now look at the things we're able to do. And we do this through religion. Imagine if we remove religion. If we say we all gonna stick together regardless of that. So I guess what I would propose is while we're still going through this understanding, okay, and still trying to separate the two and trying to separate God from literature, because some people still find it impossible to know God without somebody telling you about God. So how can I know God if I'm not reading it in this book or any other book? You know, so how do I connect with God and know who God is without literature? Until that time comes, how about we recognize what's right in front of us? People dying every single day. People literally sleeping on the streets with no place to go. People starving. But we want to debate a religion. Now, I can stand here and tell you it's not true because I refuse to teach it and I can see the harm it causes, but I'm not here for a debate. You see what I'm saying? I'm asking for help. When we walk by, and people say, well, he asking for help, so it must mean we just send him money. No. Don't send it to me. Give it to that man on the street who hungry over there. Put somebody in a hotel for a night. That would help me more than anything. Man, I don't have a job, and I'm still helping people who don't have anything because they're less fortunate than I am, and that's all that matters, man. I don't need to be to say, well, I ain't got a job, I ain't got no business helping nobody. Who am I to say that? And they're in a worse predicament than I am. You see what I'm saying? That's the kind of love I want to see displayed amongst everyone. If what you believe in is true and God lives in you, then why do we hate one another? Why do we destroy one another over simple things like beliefs? You can't see them. If I never told you what I believe, would you know? You wouldn't know. Would you know if I never said it? Well, why is it that you can work with somebody every day, and as soon as they find out what you believe, all of a sudden it's a problem because of how he thinks? Now, he hasn't hurt you in any way, but now because you know how he thinks, he's a bad person, and you should stay away from him. Now, before they found out this, they loved me. Not now. And that's why I say, I was at, I never even knew this video had went viral. When I put it on my page, I just put it up. Somebody saw this video and took it off the page, stripped it off, and they put ex-pastor on there. So this thing went crazy, and I never knew. So everybody I work with, I block them. I don't like to do social media with people I work with. I just don't do that. You got a Facebook, Kevin? No, I don't. Totally got a Facebook. As soon as they start, what's your name? Okay. Block, bam, it's done. It's already done. What happened, though, is they saw this video. What happened is they saw this video through other people's pages because so many people were sharing it. So it's on Monday. Okay, I'm at a different store working, and I hear that people are talking about, this video, and they said people want to talk to you about it at work. Cashiers, everybody at work. So I'm like, man, I don't want to go back up in there and hear about this crap. I just want to go in and do my job, man. So I get a call that day, and from one of my regional managers, and he's saying this video is out, and we don't know if it's going to cause problems in the store. What if somebody comes in and wants to attack you or wants to ask you questions? Man, you're just here to sell. We don't want that. I said, sir, this has nothing to do with my job. Trust me, I'll be fine. The very next day I come into work, they ask for my keys. Now you're talking about a person who unlocks the doors, who counts money every day. So you trust me to handle your money. All this, unlock these doors, have keys to this doors, to the alarm system, everything. But a viral video makes you now put me out of work. But see, I think it's bigger than that.
It is bigger than that. Yes, it is.
It's not about a viral video. It's what Kevin was saying in that video.
Yes.
But now I'm out of a job, right? Simply out of stating the truth. I never said anything to hurt anybody in that video. But that's the world we live in.
Yep.
And that's why I say, in spite of every bit of that, we're going to still stand. I love the fact that she said, there's no stopping us now. There absolutely is no stopping me now because you can't fire me. So now you lose the ability to threaten me with being fired. And now you lose the ability to threaten me with going and living in fire for eternity. So now you're looking at a fearless man.
Okay. All right, brother.
Who will tell the truth, and I don't care what happens.
Okay.
I promise you, I would rather see me leave this world and be an honest man.
Yes.
Than sit here and zip my lips to make everybody happy with me.
All right,
that's just not who I am. I promise you, before I am pulled over, shot dead in the streets, and become another statistics, I'd rather be shot in front of all of y'all right now. Because right now I'm making a difference. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to help people. So why would you say I'm going to be silent when the risk is there anyway? Then the Bible says you're not promised a tomorrow.
That's right, brother.
Now, we know this is true because people die, right? So if we know we're not promised tomorrow, why lie today? Tomorrow may not even come. So why not help somebody today?
Yes.
But we too worried about what's coming next week to not help somebody today. But how about put all that aside and say, you know what? I care more about this brother or this sister who needs help than what I care about is going to happen in a month from now. You see what I'm saying? I can recover what I'm going to give that person. But man, if I walk and leave them hanging, they're going to go another night without eating. Isn't that important?
Right.
So our religion says love your neighbor like you love yourself. It's real simple to me. If you have a need and you're hungry, do I want to be hungry? Do I want to go hungry? If my answer is no, then that's an immediate answer. I should be helping you because I love you like I love myself.
Yes.
I don't want to be hungry. I don't want to be on the streets. I don't want to die shot down in the streets. So why can't we not do everything that we can do to change the situation for us and our people and the people we love and leave this world being in a better place? The one thing that hit me that you said, and you were almost in tears, probably was. I ain't gonna. You might have been. But he had just said that if he could lead one person or save a person, the amount of people he has led in this other way and teaching them Christianity, if he could reach that amount of people and teach them the truth, he would die a happy man. And that's what I say. I take that what you said and I stand behind you on that. I would literally die a happy man, because that's the thing, like I said earlier, that bothers me so. The very people that I say, Jesus loves you. And if you would just let him into your heart, you will see these things that you're going through can change for you. And now these people look at me and say, man, you told me Jesus would come in my heart. And he did. But see, what they're talking about is the love I've shown them.
Right. Exactly.
So you saw the love of God through the church that had you there. You see what I'm saying? So they showed you love. But that doesn't mean that Jesus is real. You see what I'm saying? So what about the people who go to mosques and don't believe in Christianity? They have people that love them as well.
Yes.
At some point, we say, okay, well, how can you believe in God without the Bible? I don't know. Ask a Muslim.
Right.
So many people believe in God without using the Bible. So my thing is, how about let's not use this literature at all when it comes to getting closer to God?
Right.
I understand the allegories and the stories and some of the scriptures in there are really good. Don't get me wrong. But I'm saying teaching these things to our people, that they're real and that they really happen, is devastating to our children. And you see this. First, we tell our kids about Santa Claus, then or the tooth fairy. And bit by bit, you stripping these things from, okay, the tooth fairy isn't real. It's time to grow up. Okay. Then Santa isn't real. Like I said in one of my videos, that's harder because you solidified that by putting me on this man's lap. That man could have been a pedophile or anything. I have no desire in dressing up in a suit and your child being put on my lap.
All right, now.
I'm not saying everybody who does that has to have ill intentions, but I'm saying you don't know this man. If he had on overalls, you wouldn't dare put your child in that man's lap.
All right.
So why would you do it because he got a red suit on?
All right, brother.
And convince your child that this man is real and that he's magic, because that makes it easier to accept what you got for him again. Because as soon as they hit that age, 12, 13, you're accountable for your own sins, right? That's what I was taught. And then I had to hear about all this other stuff. That was easier to believe because I had already heard about all this other stuff. And if you grow up early in church and you're hearing about these things, at some point you're going to say, well, you took Santa Claus from me. You took the tooth fairy from me. When is this Jesus thing going to, because he's just like the other ones. Santa Claus is eternal. Right? Yep. He lives forever. Yep. He knows when you're naughty and nice, so he knows everything. Dude know everything. But he ain't got no better way of getting around. I feel like a preacher wiping my head. He got no better way of getting around than riding behind these 12? The 12 reindeer? Yeah. Woo, why 12? 12 disciples, 12 reindeer. Ain't that something? So at some point we start realizing these things starting to add up. 12 constellations, 12 months in a year, and it just keeps going on. And you start saying, wait a second, is this thing real? Because God being almighty, why 12? Why choose the story of Hero and Horus? If your goal is to show the world that you exist and that you're real, why would you copy the storyline of someone else? It just doesn't make sense. So what I did is I said, you know what? I'm going to try to find out, was Jesus truly born in December? And of course, he was not, although churches still teach you that by putting out these mangers. Then I realized that, the Bible started saying, well, I say it started saying, it always said it, I just came upon it, where it talks about, at night, worshiping or celebrating the festivals or the Jewish festivals were supposed to be at night. So I said, well, Jesus ain't a sun god, because it ain't during the morning, it's at night. You see what I'm saying? So I started trying to find all these other reasons to connect with it, right? And then when it finally hit me, man, none of it's real.
There you go, brother.
He never existed. So you're trying to live your life according to how you think he lived it. But the person you're trying to live your life like never even existed.
Wow.
So then you say, all this time I've been preaching to my church about why you doing this and why you're not doing it this way. I'm wrong too. So now this brother who refused to celebrate the way they celebrated because I wanted to be right is now coming back to them saying it ain't real. And I wanted it more than any of them, as I was going to try to live it the correct way. So according to based on my actions, I had more faith in any of them people, because I was going to live that thing the way it was supposed to be lived, the way the word teaches it to be lived. Right? I hate these. It's funny. I call it the word, like it ain't no word besides that. But that's how we've been taught. Yeah. And it's like we learn religion day by day. And I think it's going to take that to lose it. You're not just going to hear that Jesus ain't real and walk away like, oh, okay, I'm just going about my life. And people say, well, you accepted this because you want to do what you want to do. Man, you couldn't be further from the truth. Right. Jeez, brother. Jeez. My heart good, period. And there's good people who believe in religion, and they're just good people. There you go. And you may think it's because of what they believe in that allows them to live upright lives, but it's not. They've always been good. I've always been a good person. I didn't start going to church till I was about 15, 16 years old. You know, and I ain't wronged anybody before that. I wasn't out here hurting people, and I've never been like that. You see what I'm saying? So don't tell me that I'm giving it up because I want to go out and soil my oats. And they say they don't come into America. It's not true. I want to help people, man. And that's always been who I was. And so when I heard the truth, it said, I got to tell them. I got to tell everybody the truth if it kills me. I do not care. Don't worry about me. I promise you, I will die a happy man if just one person listen. Because we can't continue to keep our mouths closed and then watching people believe in this thing and give their entire lives to it. You see what I'm saying? So that's all I'm asking, is that we take control of our lives and change this world ourselves. Yes. And stop waiting for somebody to show up, because he ain't showing up. It ain't going to happen. Forget about it. And here's the thing. Let's just say I'm wrong. Okay. And he shows up. We probably already got it straightened up by the time he get here, because he's taking forever. He's taking forever. Where I'm from, if you ask somebody to do something, they don't do it. Okay. Eventually, let me just do it myself. Obviously, that brother don't want to do it. That sister don't want to do it. You see what I'm saying? Why am I keep waiting on you to show up if I'm sitting here keep begging you, looking for you, till you ain't showing up? Let me change the situation myself. And I don't think he'd have a problem with that. So if we see the world is in shambles, why are we sending up prayers? Yes. When we can just put our hands to work and show people God. There you go, brother. Now, who can deny him after that? There you go. You see what I'm saying? So even the people who are atheists say, man, I don't believe in a God. Okay. Do you see people sick? You see people needing help? There you go. Man, that's my mission. I want to see people be helped. I want to see people be healed. I want to see this mess stop. It burdens me so to know that people go through things like they go through daily, being killed daily for no reason at all, believing the beliefs that they believe in daily, contributing to those beliefs, staying broke because they're giving all their money to the church because they believe if they don't give it to the church, they're going to be cursed. God going to put a hole in your pocket because you didn't give him your last dime. Man, if I give you my last dime, even if you put a hole in I'm going to still be broke. So I'll take my chances, man. I'll take my chances and give it to someone who I know is going to use that money for good. If I don't have the time to get out and go find somebody who has a need, then I'll take that money to someone else who I believe is going to do that. But I'm not going to continue to give my dollars and my time to somebody who's just making the church bigger, making his own house bigger, when the very people in your same building struggle and suffer every day. But yet they can hand you their money and you can say, thank you, God gonna bless you. But it's crazy because we believe in all these mythological things, we allow people like that to use us and get over on us. We know they're con artists. We just don't want to believe it. If you know somebody's going home to a multi-million-dollar mansion and you going home to a one-bedroom, you're probably being used. You see what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't live in a mansion and y'all live somewhere like that. You see what I'm saying? We all can live like that before I live in a mansion and y'all live like that. So I'd rather build a community and start off small and see us all helped than me have all this stuff and y'all be out here struggling. And then you got the audacity. You have the audacity to stand there and say you got God in your heart, but you can be doing that well and everybody else is doing that badly. And you got God in your heart. But when you read this word, Jesus didn't do that. And that's your mission, right? He never bought a mansion. You see what I'm saying? His whole life, according to this scripture, he was given. So why are the ministers that stand for Jesus not doing that? And I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying for the most part, It's business. It's business, absolutely. And even if you say, you know what, I'm not going to teach tithe from a standpoint of give and or you'll be cursed. I'm going to teach it from the standpoint of Paul, right? Give. Why don't you just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to make a decision in my mind that I want to support this ministry and I'm going to give. Then what? That person that you're giving that money to is going to misuse those funds, whether or not you give it because you're afraid you're going to be cursed or whether or not you give it because you want to support. When you look around and you see that the church is doing nothing but growing in size in terms of, I saw a church one time in Savannah and he was taking up an offering and he wanted $100,000. He had a multi-million-dollar church, humongous church. And so he came and bought some furniture from me one time and he asked me to come out there. So I went out there and the first day I went in there, this dude had already used the money. He raised up enough money. Dude bought a chandelier. He said it was $100,000 too. A chandelier in the top, way up in high. And I mean, I'm looking around saying, oh, they're going to kill him. It's about to be, let me get on up out of here. They shouted. They were excited about a piece of glass hanging from the ceiling that they gave their money to, and people out here starving. And you put $100,000 chandelier up. You know how many people you could have helped with that? So I stayed just because I wanted to talk to him. You know, he said, brother, what you think of the message? I said, bro, I'll never come to your church again. All right. Ever. You don't have to shop. You don't have to buy from me no more. But I got to tell you the truth. Why would you put a chandelier up there? Well, brother, this is my church. I do what I want to. Yeah, exactly. You do what you want to. This ain't about God at all. Okay. So you just told me everything. I do what I want. You wanted a chandelier. You wanted the church to look prettier. Okay. So other people got to suffer and struggle. When you could have started programs to put people through college, you could have taken that money and loaned it to somebody who just got a barber's license and help them start a business. And if they're paying 10% back, now they're paying more back because they make more money. And you could take that money and give it to a lady who just got out of school for running a salon. Somebody who may want to open up a clothing store. You can use these funds to help strengthen the community. But what did you go and do? Made it brighter in the room. Unbelievable. And that's what I mean. If you disagree with me, you got to agree with that. Why would you want to go to a church who's doing things like that? So why not find a better place to go to so you can see people be helped if you truly believe in what you believe in? So instead of wanting to argue with me and say, I don't appreciate what you said about what actually goes on in churches today. Does it actually go on in churches today? So am I talking junk or stating facts? So I have no stones to throw. Okay, I'm only exposing it. I'm only showing you. And the thing about it, if we were paying attention, we would already see it. But we're blind. Yes. We're blind to all that's going on in front of us because we believe in fables. We believe in fairy tales. So why not believe that this man standing in front of you, okay, who got on an Armani suit, loves you, even though he don't help you? Why not believe that? Why? Because he stand up here and give you some scriptures every day? That means he loves you. He can sit here and watch you struggle, knowing this joker got it all. No, he does. I can't do that, man. So some people say, well, you know what? You were a pastor. You were a minister. You took money. Never did. Never did. Every place I ever went to, it was strictly for free. If they wanted to donate something to me, that was fine. And most of the time, it was just enough for gas and to get back. I never sold myself to people. And so I charge this much. I got to do this. I remember one time, man, we were trying to get T.D. Jakes to come speak for my pastors, you know. Pastors Appreciation Sunday. Like 30 grand. And that's his house. This my pastor died 8 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. So he was still alive and well. And it was 30 grand then. 30, and I said, man, dang, I thought that dude was powerful. You charged 30 grand. Man, nobody's time is that valuable. I'd rather just watch your DVDs, because if I got to pay 30 grand to see you, man, you crazy. You looking at a Dallas Cowboy fan who ain't got no Dallas Cowboy stuff on my wall, because I ain't giving him my money. So what I'm going to pay you to come here and say something you can say from Texas? I'll stay tuned. How about that? Because I'm not going to pay you $30,000 to come out here and talk to me. But you know why? Because if you pay him 30 grand, you know how many people going to come out and see him?
Oh yeah.
So if you can get a big enough building, oh, you can make a flip. You can pay him, still make some money.
Yes.
Why does church think like that?
It's a business, brother.
Right, exactly.
It's a business.
So is it about helping people or about making money?
Making money.
Because that is what it has become.
Yep.
Churches were supposed to be storehouses, places you can come get something, but they have been turned around into places that you come and give something. They're not asking you for cans of food. They're asking you to bring your hard-earned money in there every single time. But see, if you brought case goods and things like that, when people were hungry, we'd have enough to be able to supply that need. You see what I'm saying? So even back when that tithe was going on, if you were a fisherman, you were exempt from tithe. Why? Because fish spoil.
Right. Exactly.
So everybody wasn't tithing. You only tithe if you had what could be considered as tithe. So fruits, vegetables, animals, things like that. But they weren't asking you to bring in your fish because they were going to die. They was going to spoil, so there was no need for that. But now it's all about currency. It's all about dollars in your pocket. They're not saying, hey, I don't have my tithe, but I got these couple cans of food I can bring. They may accept it, but they ain't got nowhere for that to go, as that's the only couple cans of food they have, because they ain't even tell nobody else to bring none. So that lets you know, if they're not telling you to bring that type of stuff or to try to help like that, do they really care about helping people? Now, this is a church I'm talking about. A church, a storehouse, Bethlehem, house of bread is what it's supposed to be called. But you can't go there and get no bread. You can only go take bread there. So the only person that get to go there and leave with something is the pastor. You leave with a word.
Okay.
Oh, he was on fire today. And then what'd he do? Pass a collection fund around. With no intentions of using that money to redistribute that. It's okay to pass a plate. I'm not saying that. But what are your intentions with it? Are you trying to help people? Or are you trying to help yourself?
Right.
Would you kill the world to save yourself? And so many people have made that decision. I'm going to be y'all. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to take care of myself. Y'all going to have to worry about y'all's. So you sit out here and you speak all these positive things to all these people and say they can do it too. And you know you're lying to them. Because as soon as they talk about going out and starting their own, it's not God's will.
Right.
What'd you say?
All right.
You are a disciple and you learn from me until you can teach.
All right.
I'm not asking you to be a sheep and continue to follow me.
Right.
But this is what churches do. They bring you in and they convince you that you're a sheep.
Yep.
By telling you that they're your shepherd. You're their flock. And sheep dumb, right?
Dumbest animal in the world.
Dumbest animal in the world.
Yep.
And if you go astray, they break your leg. And that's love, carrying back. You broke my leg. When we tried to escape, they cut our foot off. Was that love? Was that love? So I'm going to say this and I'm going to finish. When that brother told me that I didn't know anything about being a slave, I said, let me tell you something, bro. Jesus wouldn't dare trade places with a slave because he went through that for a day. Imagine that's all you know. Imagine seeing your loved ones fish to alligators so you can make some shoes, sell the skin. Imagine seeing your loved ones beat and killed and raped right in front of you. Seeing your father raped right in front of you. Beaten, hung. And you say that Jesus went through a lot? I get it. I thought it was amazing. I thought what Jesus went through was the single greatest act of love I had ever saw. But you know how many people took that same beating so their immediate family couldn't be hurt? Not for the whole world, just for their kids.
Right, brother.
Saw a picture of a child hanging and the mother was hanging right beside him. Why? Up under it, it said that they were trying to rape the little boy. And the mother stopped the master from raping the little boy. And as a result, they both were hung. You don't think she knew what she was going to face? But she had a choice to make. I can sit here and watch my son get raped. Or I can stand up for my son. See, I choose to stand up for my son. I choose to stand up for my daughter. You see what I'm saying? I choose that. I don't care what happens, man. I'm not going to sit here and allow somebody to feed my child bull crap. Okay, treat them like crap and convince them that they're not worth a dime. No, I'm going to tell my kids that they're worth everything. I want to teach my kids the truth so they can grow up upright, so they can grow up saved with that structure inside of you, knowing that you are somebody. You see what I'm saying? If we don't do this, our kids are going to continue to think that we're nothing without Jesus. They're not going to simply unlearn if we don't teach them. So if we could, why not we all be the voice? I'm nobody, especially when everybody starts speaking up. So I'm saying that to everybody who send me messages and say, you know what, I'm afraid to come out. Man, just come out. Just tell the truth. Because I promise you, what's waiting for you is way much better, way more better than what you are faced with right now. That fear of what's going to happen, I promise you, like seeing people say, man, you know what? I listen to what you say. You've changed my life. Okay. That makes it worth it. Yes. Yeah, you're going to get some ridicule. People ain't going to like you, and that's fine. That's fine, but as long as you waking people up, I don't need people to like me. See, I lost that when I lost believing in Jesus. I used to need that. I used to say, man, I want people to like me. And if somebody didn't like me, it bothered me. I don't need you to like me. I just need you to listen. You see what I'm saying? If you can listen, I can set you free. If I can get you to think a little bit, you'll be free. What does liking me have to do with that? So if I need you to like me, I ain't going to tell you the truth. Right. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to try to stay on your good side. I don't want to offend you. So I'm going to walk on eggshells. Meanwhile, they don't walk on eggshells. Right. They're going to come in there. They'll stand there and tell you straight up you're going to hell and feel like they're doing God's will by doing it. They don't feel like they're bad people by judging you, telling you where you're going, because they're taught that that's not judgmental. I'm simply stating facts. If you don't believe what I believe, you're going to hell. But if we stand out there and tell them otherwise, now we're wrong. We're out of line. Don't say, if you want to believe that, you're going over there with that. Don't come to me with that. Never once if I said, don't come to my wall with that Jesus stuff. Man, you're more than welcome if that's what you believe. But we're going to talk about it. And you're probably going to have about 40 conscious people jump on there and let you hear it for what you just said to me. So, yeah, I have people in my face saying negative things, but I have more people having my back now than I ever thought possible. And the fact that y'all sitting right here says that. And I'm going to say that, I said that to say this. I've never felt so much support in my entire life, even with all these people, thousands of people saying what they got to say to me. I've never felt so much support in my entire life from people like y'all who said, man, I'm glad that you woke up and we're here for y'all. So I can tell anybody out there, we're not religious people at all. Yet we stand here loving each other more than their religion allows them to love each other. Now, ain't that something? That I can put this book down and truly love people rather than just love somebody in the sky and look at the people around me like they don't really matter. Because the Bible says that you should love your neighbor, right? Right, absolutely. But we neglect that part. We just really care. We would see Jesus. And that's pretty much all it is. We want to get closer to him, and then we neglect everybody around us. I see people who say they love Jesus step over a homeless man, but it's like, how could you do that? How can you say you love somebody, but then leave them to starve if you can help them? Well, they probably ain't going to use it for food. That's not your choice. You don't get to make that decision. Then why don't you go buy them food then? There you go. Okay, I don't know if you're going to really use it for that. Okay, well then drive up the street, get them some food. Hey, wait right here, brother. I'll be right back. What would you like? I'm going to bring you something back. Bring him a burger and fries or something. That way you know you helped him. You see what I'm saying? Instead of saying, I don't think he's going to use it right. So now you try to say, I got the spirit of discernment. I know. You don't have jack. You just don't want to give that man no money. Spirit of discernment. He asked for money. You don't want to give it to him. Bottom line. Bottom line. You're going to come up with every reason that you can come up with to not help that person. And then go home and you still feel loved by God because you said, I'm sorry. So we can treat each other like crap and then go and apologize to God. And now we're good. If I say something to hurt this brother and I go apologize to God, what does it do for him? Right. Nothing at all. So wouldn't it make more sense that if I hurt him, I take responsibility for my actions and go and make that right? Wouldn't that make more sense? But instead we hit the altar. God, forgive me for what I did to him. What? Apologize, and if he don't forgive you, you put him in front of the church. And if he don't forgive you, he going to hell now. Hey, I said my part, brother. You need to forgive me for you. Because you're going to burn if you don't forgive me. And it's not about what I did to you now. Now it's about you. And there's unforgiveness that you're holding in your heart. Because if you die having not forgive me, he ain't going to forgive you. Wow. So somebody can rape me kill my daughter.
Teach, brother.
And if I die with unforgiveness in my heart, that joker, he going to put me in hell?
Teach.
Is my anger not justified?
That's the program.
I didn't go after the man to hurt him. You're talking about just a feeling in my chest, in my heart, in my mind that I don't forgive that person. And now I have to burn forever. Forever. Not a couple of days. Not a couple of days. Forever. I used to say it to myself all the time. Do you want to burn forever? like never stop burning? Because there's no way to explain that. You know, you're going to be tortured for an eternity. Man, that's horrifying. But then when you wake up from it, you be like, man, what a lie.
Yeah.
And why did I even believe it? Not having seen this crap anyway. And then you look for it even in the Bible and can't even find many places where it talks about it. So where do we get this idea of hell? Could it be that somebody wants to mentally enslave you? Could it be that? Because when you look at everything, a whole lot has to make sense for this Bible to be real. A whole lot. So when you look at it and you say, okay, well, there's things that predate it, right? Okay, well, then there's prophecy. So you find all these reasons that you can believe in it, right? But isn't it more likely that it was manufactured? With all these inconsistencies in it, can we just accept, hey, maybe it was. It is jotted down by man, right? Man did eat an apple or eat forbidden fruit when God strictly told him not to. So God knows he can't trust man. Right? According to this literature, the world's first sons, one of them killed the other one. So, I mean, God is always presented with how broken and fallible man is. Yet you trust him to write down your inerrant word and not put any motive in it or anything. So what if you had asked Cain to write this down? I'm sure he would have said something about not giving him everything. He probably would have said jealousy is okay because he had it in his heart when he found out his brother gave a little more than he did. So what if you have man write down your literal word of God? Is it going to be right?
No.
Because we've already shown that we mess up all the time. I mean, 150 years after Noah's Ark, they built the Tower of Babel.
Right.
And they had enough people to do it with. But you know what? Noah, if him and his family can build an ark that big, just a few more of them, they can probably build a Tower of Babel. So I see they built this $100 million structure that looks just like the ark, right? And I said, I wonder if one family built it. I wonder if one family built it. So here I am, I go looking at it. You see cranes. 100 and some people out here working on this ark, man. Why couldn't one family? Show me one family can build it, and maybe I'll say, you know what? It's something to it. No cranes, no nothing. Can't even test it for leaks, no nothing. So I ask people, I say, so when this ship started to rise, why didn't these giants, rip this ship apart trying to get on it? I mean, if I'm a giant and I see this water coming up around me and this boat floating, I'm getting on that boat and ain't nobody gonna stop me. I'm a giant. Right? Absolutely, yeah. Let me be a ram or something with some horns and I see that thing floating up. I'm putting a hole in that boat. You don't let me on? Oh, I ain't one of the two? So here's the thing. Who got to decide? Because here's my thing. I'm silly, man. So here's my thing. If I'm an animal, right? And I see two antelope heading towards the boat. Where y'all going? Oh, God about to kill everybody except for us. Oh, no, he ain't. Because part 2 of my Cain spree about to start on you. Because if I'm going to kill you and take your place before I die right here. So you just see all these animals walking to get on this boat. And nobody else has a problem with that. All these people surrounding this thing. Seeing all these animals. Now, at one point, I was taught this story from a standpoint that it never rained prior to this flood, that the earth was irrigated from the ground up. Now, I don't know that this is correct. This is how I was taught, though. Okay? So now all of a sudden, you see this man building this ark. You don't believe him. It ain't never rained before, right? But when you start seeing all these animals go towards this boat, something got to start clicking. Something. How all these animals know to just go get on this man's boat? How that penguin get all the way in Africa? Penguin come on. Man, I know you hot. Polar bear right behind them. Come on, man. Come on. But they don't seem that silly when you're a kid and you're hearing about them. But see, that's why. You're a kid. So you don't have those type of deductive reasoning skills to say, I challenge that. There's no way you can get every animal in the world, 2 of some, 7 of some, to be on a boat that's about 2 football fields long. It's impossible. But as a child, you say, oh, okay, mama, daddy, I hear this story. And even the little colorful characters in the book, you're getting told these stories by probably a 15-year-old teaching that particular Sunday school class. Nobody cared about her credentials when she taught your child about Noah's Ark. But now everybody wants my PhDs. They want my credentials. What you need my credentials for? Man, just study the facts. If I'm lying to you, you could simply go look it up and see that I was lying to you. So why is my credentials important now when they weren't important when I was Christian? Because the need is to invalidate the person giving the message when you know they're telling the truth. If I was lying, they'd pick that lie apart, no doubt about it. But maybe I'm saying something that's solid because now all they care about is who I am. What church you pastor? Why? Why? Is what I'm saying true? You see what I'm saying? Because that's what we do to each other. What's that word? Anathematize? Anathematize. Cast out, right? Accursed. And none of us want to be anathematized. None of us want to be cast out and treated like an outcast for simply just knowing the truth. But how can we accept the truth if we're not willing to let go of a lie? So as quickly as we would like for people to say, you know what, I'm with you, I understand. We know that's not going to happen because we know that mental strongholds are a lot stronger than that. Somebody came to me 3 years before it hit me and told me about this. And I disregarded it. I didn't even want to hear that. I said, bro, you going crazy. And his name was Clifton. He's an amazing guy. He showed me this stuff and I was just like, man, I ain't with that. So I didn't treat him badly because he's my friend. But I just said, nah, I'm going to keep what I got going, bro. You into something else. And so as soon as it hit me, I called him and I said, bro, you told me about this 3 years ago. Man, why didn't you stay on me? Man, he said, you weren't trying to hear what You're right. Yeah, because I showed up would have said, brother, get out my face. And I would have called him a devil too. Because I was working on it, but I was like, I'm going to wait. But he left me alone about it. You see what I'm saying? I wish he wouldn't have, though. I wish he would have continued to present information to me so I could have woken up sooner. Because now I look at it and say, man, I wish I had done this, 3 years ago and started teaching my kids correctly 3 years ago. You see what I'm saying? But it's not as hard as you think it is, especially with your children. When you go to your children, they trust you, man. So if you tell them the truth, man, my kids didn't really put up much of a fight with this. When I began to explain these things, I said, listen, your daddy was wrong. I taught y'all this my whole life, and it's because I believed in it. But now I understand it's not true. So allow me to show y'all. And they were just like, okay, daddy. It literally went from me saying prayers with my sons every single night. My daughter was kind of over it. But my sons needed prayer every single night. The first day I told them, so you ain't about to come pray with us, right? No, I guess not. I mean, I was going to. I would have. If they needed prayer, man, I would have prayed with them. I'm not that type of person. You see what I'm saying? I can sit with somebody at a dinner table, and if they want to say prayer over their food, then that's fine. Man, I'm not about to tell you can't pray over your food. If that makes you feel better, then pray. I have no problem with it. I'll even close my eyes with you and give you your respect. But we can't get that from them. Right. If I sit up and say, I don't feel like praying, they go like, you better pray. You sitting at my table. And Jesus, absolutely. And so that's my thing. I'm just trying to say, there can be a place that we can get to. And I remember one day you said, we may not see this changed, but man, we got to start somewhere. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And what made me take a stand, like I said, wasn't being brave. It was fear. Fear of seeing my kids go down that same road. Yes. And I won't do it. Yes. And so I'm hoping that anybody who listening to this thing here, anybody who's here, if you hadn't accepted it yet, I'm asking that you take a look at the evidence, that you take a look. Try to, if you don't mind, you don't have to try to prove the Bible to not be real. That's not how I found this truth. Okay. I found it trying to validate it. Yes. I never set out to say, I'm going to prove you to be fake. No, I was trying to prove them to be real so I could have something to truly stand on. Yes. When I heard it was all those religions, man, that shocked me. You see what I'm saying? And I had somebody ask me that exact thing. What if you die and Jesus is real? I said, what if you die and Buddha is? Have you thought about that? Because that's the concept of thinking, is that my God is 100% real or there is no God. That's the thinking. So if I die believing in Jesus, I'm straight, because if he ain't real, at least I'm straight. But what if somebody else's God in hell is real? Okay. Then you're going to go burn in their hell. And so you standing here face to face with whatever their God is, and you're saying, but I tried. I was taught that Jesus was God. Well, I'm sorry, but you're going to hell. Love you. See you in, I don't know, forever. Okay, you tried though. The person who got sent down right before you was a murderer, and all you being tormented because you just didn't know. So can you imagine Jesus saying that to somebody else? God saying that to somebody else? That's when it hit me, man. God cannot think like that. There's no way. If you put aside the literature, would you think that God thought like that? Would you do that to somebody? So if your child is taken from you early, you looking for your child looking for you. You gonna be mad at your child for not finding you?
Right, brother.
Would you? If they try with all their might to find you, when they finally find you, man, you should have found me sooner. I don't want a relationship with you now. Come on, you're gonna be so excited to see your child because your child just didn't know who you were because they weren't around you. It's just like that. Your child may have been taken from you at birth, whatever. You never know. So I'm just giving an example here, but you're not going to say, I'm going to reject you because you didn't find me sooner, knowing you didn't have the resources. I don't have the resources to get out here and search through every religion and learn them all to find out which God is real. So why would God punish me if I'm trying to find him and I'm unsuccessful due to the area I lived in? I now have to burn in hell. Really? I don't believe that's God. I don't believe that is actually God's word that we're reading as God's word. I don't believe that God thinks like that. Because I believe that if we're made in his image, we know when something resonates in our spirit, if that's God or not. You see what I'm saying? Even as kids, somebody can do something that hurts you a little bit. Why does it hurt? Nobody ever told you it was wrong, but why did it hurt your feelings? You knew it was wrong. That's why it hurt. You see what I'm saying? So when we look around and we say, I don't want to be standing in front of God and him put me in a hell and I burn forever because my beliefs didn't line up exactly with the way he said they should have. If you question that, you'll know that's not God. So people say, well, Kevin, you can't believe in God and not the Bible. Yeah, you can. You cannot believe in this literature. Okay, you cannot. Okay, so if we're going to believe in literature, that means it's okay to stone somebody if they have sex before they married. Somebody needs to be stoned to death because they had sex prior to being married. Killed, murdered now. And at some point, we got to realize that can't be. It's just unfair for a God who is all moral, all knowing, all love to criticize you for something that even he wouldn't understand according to the literature. So if you get to heaven and you say, well, you know what, God, let me ask you a question before you send me to hell. What is it like to lust? So how can you don't know what it's like to lust? What's it like to want to kill somebody? Somebody might hurt somebody real close to you, and you might actually think thoughts like that. Somebody might hurt your child, and you might actually go back and handle business. And in doing that, you might have gotten killed. What's it like, God, to want to just slaughter somebody? Oh, I know what that's like. He'd have to know what that's like, because he'd be killing everybody in the Bible. But things like lust, he ain't gonna know what that's like. So you're gonna put me in an eternal fire for a sin that you don't even truly understand what it's like. Completely unrealistic for a God to be all loving and knowing to burn you in hell for something he doesn't even really understand, because he doesn't know sin, right? So how can you burn me for something you don't even understand? That's like beating your child for wanting a passy. You might not want to suck on a passy, but the child does. So you might not remember ever having that desire. So why would I punish that child for doing that? That's where they are in their life. It's not saying that it's good or bad, but that's how we raised up. So we even hurt and ridicule each other over things that's not really good or bad, like not going to church. You don't show up to church every Sunday. You done backslid. Oh yeah, don't show up for one Sunday. And if I showed up more Sundays than you have, I'm closer to God than you. Brother, where you been? We ain't seen it. It's been 2 weeks, lady. I had the flu. You backsliding, they praying for you over the whole church. Think you out there. And you just because you didn't show up to church. So I got to be sitting here every single Sunday to be saved. What does it say that? But they'll convince you of that if they can. So everybody has what you call scruples. They have their own idea of a thing. You see what I'm saying? It's not at all in here. But we live our whole religions, our whole Christianity, whatever it is that you believe, based off of what you see around you. At some point, if you're going to believe what you believe, at least practice it correctly. That's what I would say. If you believe what you believe, show me what you believe is true. Don't let me see no mange outside of your church on Christmas Eve. And you sitting here talking about you believe in the Bible. Do you believe in the Bible? The Bible said don't do that. The Bible doesn't advocate that. So why are you sitting out here doing it? You see what I'm saying? But all of a sudden, I'm a devil. When what is God saying to you when you set up all these idols that have nothing to do with him, yet offer them up to him? You don't think he's more concerned with how many people you're leading astray?
Right.
As a Christian who's saying, I believe in Jesus, you're still leading them astray.
Yes.
So I'm worse for telling you he doesn't exist. I'm not worse. I'm correct.
Thank you. That's the way to say
But you're incorrect if you're saying he exists, yet you practice in a way that you know is not condoned or backed by that very book. So you're going to take a manual that tells you how to build something, build it totally different, and then call yourself successful. So if I buy a product that has a manual inside of it and says, build it this way, I throw that manual to the side, build it however I want to build it. It's frail. I still got 8 screws in my hand. I feel like they just gave me extra. Somebody sit in the chair and fall. I'm going to say, oh, I know I built it right. How do you know you built it? You didn't even read the book. You didn't even read it. So at some point, we got to stop presenting frail, fragile stuff and saying that it's from something solid. You have no clue what you're doing. And that's why you're doing it. You have no background. You have no stability in what you say you believe in. That's why you practice it in total ways that you see other people practice it. You see other people practice it. You didn't read it. You're just doing what you see other people do. Accept it. You don't know what you're talking about. So how about go read and gather some knowledge, and then you'll understand what you're putting your time and effort into is really worthless. There's nothing in it for you that's going to benefit you. You might find some things that can help you get by day, but they ain't going to change your life. Like nothing will change your life like taking responsibility for your own actions. Instead of waking up every day saying, God, I hope it's a good day. Man, make it a good day.
Yes.
Live your life like tomorrow ain't coming. Like they say, dream like you living forever, but live like you dying today. If it's somebody that you haven't told something, somebody who you haven't forgiven or asked forgiveness for, why are you not doing that today if you're not promised tomorrow? But you're more concerned with going to hell. We have been so tormented and tainted by these beliefs that it's almost impossible to see the light because so many of us are bound with it. And it's crazy because I see that now more than ever because my message box is flooded with nothing but people who believe in this stuff wholeheartedly. And I feel sorry for them because I know what they're placing their faith in is not fact. But at the same time, they don't know that. So it's like, how can I show them? You think I'm the devil, but I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to show you day by day. We're going to show them day by day that we do have God. And we're going to do it by changing this world. Not by praying and having a good time, dancing around, and then leave out going out to be the same exact way. You see what I'm saying? At some point, man, you got to see a difference. When I used to bodybuild, and I know this dude be lifting, you go into a gym. When you leave that day, you still look the same as you look when you walked in there. And you might have a little pump, a vein bulging, but a few hours later, it's going to go down, ain't it? You ever work out and be like, but I wish it just stayed like this. That's church. You go and you hear something really good and you feel like you're on top of the world. But as you go on throughout that day, that disintegrates. You see what I'm saying? So you go back into the gym the next day. When you leave, you still look the same as you did the day you walked in there. Nobody changes overnight. But bit by bit, somebody can say, oh, I can see a difference now. Oh, you can tell you're going. You see what I'm saying? So we can come into a building and we can think we're hearing about God. We can think we're hearing scriptures that's going to change our life. But then you're a year down the road and you're in the same place you were. Your bench press still the same and you do chest every day. Something ain't right. You might need to change your trainer, right? If you're doing all of that effort, all that work, and you're not seeing any difference in your life, maybe the application is not the problem. Maybe it's what you're applying. Maybe it's what you're trying to apply to your life is not working for you. 30 years. And same thing for myself. The same things I would battle with spiritually, or things I would battle with in my mind, I still battle with the whole time, hoping God would just take it from me. But like I said, it's amazing when you find out that that responsibility lies with you. Yep. Because now, if you don't want to be in it no more, you don't have to be. Right. If you want to change your situation, man, you can. Right. Don't let nobody convince you that you can't. Right. You 100% can. It's your responsibility. And if you don't do nothing, your life's going to stay the same. Your life will not change until you take responsibility for your life. It is your life. Okay? If you die, we cannot give you your life back to you. So why would you not take the time while you're right here and learn the right things and apply these things to your life so you can see your life be better? And if your life is better, everybody's is. Everybody you come in contact, it will be. your children's lives will be better. They depending on us, man. Our neighbors, these Christians depending on us, believe it or not. They don't know it. But when they wake up, the very people that's telling me they hate me, okay, they want to see me dead, I'm going to burn in hell. The thing that warms my heart is I know one day they're going to be saying, bro, I thank you. Yep. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad that in spite of me saying all that to you, you never responded back in an ill way. I really appreciate that because now I see the truth. And now they getting ridiculed for it. And we'll jump on teams and we'll all have their back like y'all have mine. Well, guys, that's all I have to say. I'm hoping that that this thing starts an even bigger fire and people start, instead of sharing a video, they start going outside and helping people. They start going out into this world and changing other people's lives with their hands, because these are the hands of God right here. The hands you got in front of you is the hands of God. So, I want to say thank y'all so much for y'all support. I really, truly appreciate it. So many people are sending me messages saying, bro, I'm so happy for you. And that right there is the stuff I pay attention to. You see what I'm saying? So don't get me wrong. It can take a lot out of you reading those negative comments. You see, and you don't know what they are till you open them. And it's funny because Christians, they started off good. Right. When you see your messenger, you see a little bit of the sentence, you know. I'm not on here to fuss at you. Okay, click. But you going to hell. Oh, crap. You got me. You got me. I thought you wasn't gonna fuss at me, but you totally did. But here I have to say I respect where you're coming from. I have once stood exactly where you stand and would have told myself I was going to hell. So I have to say I respect your concern. But do your research and you will find that I'm not wrong. But then they don't want to do the research. But like he said, if you keep planting that seed, you can't ignore it. You hear me, and I'm gonna make it difficult for you. I'm gonna keep on shining this light in your face until you wake up. Yes, sir. So I'm gonna say something I always wanted to say, right here. Ashe.
Come on, y'all. Put it together. Give it up.
Come on, give it up. Yeah. All right. Yeah, you may be seated, family. Now, okay. I may have an education and all that kind of stuff, but I don't have adequate words to actually say how happy I am that this warrior, this young militant divine, has awakened. I can't give him the credit. I have to give God the credit, you know. And it's something because you don't really wake up until it's God's time for you to wake up. You know, there are a lot of people who they're trying to wake up. You know, and so what they do is they acquire a lot of information. They read a lot of books and they acquire a lot of information, but their heart has not developed. Their intellect has developed. Am I making sense? Their intellect has, and we see a lot of that in the so-called conscious community. Their intellect has developed, but their heart has not developed. But when God touches you, he touches you starting in the heart. And as you heard this brother did, now come on, be honest with me. As he was speaking, could not you feel his heart? Yes. That's what makes the difference, man. You know, that's what makes the difference. Brother, thank you, man. Thank you for taking a stand. You know, and now, would y'all like to see him come back? Like regularly? Okay. I told him I've already adopted him in the African village. You know, there's a lot of people that tell me they woke up. I ain't adopting them because they have intellectual masturbation going on. Their heart ain't there yet. You see? So, man, hey.
You got a home, Kevin?
Yeah, man. To those of you who are watching us online, I want to say thank you for uh, logging on and tuning in and registering for this event. And I'm going to ask you the same thing I'm going to ask the brothers and sisters here. Brothers and sisters, we're going to ask those of you out there to remember the African village in your donations. Please write this down. Our PayPal account for you to donate by PayPal is the African Village ATL for Atlanta, the African Village, and that's African with the letter K, the African Village ATL at hotmail.com. Okay, if you go to your PayPal account, you can make your contributions there. We're taking up collections here to support what we're doing. You can go to the African Village ATL to help support what we're doing in the African Village at the African Village ATL at hotmail.com and make your donation there. Okay, I forgive me, but we didn't think about this earlier. We could have just simply put a PayPal button right there on the page, so it will be there next time. Okay, we love you guys out there. Thank you so much for being with us today. Spread the word, okay, and tell people about this message of truth that is coming through this young warrior right here. Minister, of course, he didn't give himself the title ex-pastor, and I think that's one of the reasons why it went so well, because people like that mentality. But he is a minister, and that's Minister Kevin Wesley. Okay, keep him in your prayers, all right, because he got a lot of work to do. Love you guys out there. Thanks for being with us. Everybody, let's give our internet audience a hand. Okay, come on.
The truth will make us free. That's how Africans ought to be, living every day in the power of our mind. The knowledge of the truth will make us free. That's how Africans ought to be, walking every day with the right knowledge in our mind. The knowledge of the truth will make us free. That's how Africans ought to be, living every day in the power of our mind. The knowledge of the truth will make us free. That's how Africans ought to be, walking every day with the right knowledge in our mind. Everybody repeat after me. I gotta be free. I gotta be free. You and me. You and me. We must be free. We must be free. Africa and Africans must be free. We gotta be free. We gotta be free. You and me. You and me. We must be free. We must be free. Africa and Africans must be free. We gotta be free. We gotta be free. You and me. You and me. Oh, we must be free. We must be free. Africa and Africans must be free. We gotta be free. We gotta be free. You and me. You and me. We must be free. We must be free. Africa and Africans must be free. We're gonna be free. We're gonna be free. Oh, you and me. Oh, you and me. Oh, we must be free. Oh, we must be free. Africa and Africans must be free. We gotta be free. We gotta be free. You